Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Papa React. Welcome back to day 3 of the 5-day AI Agent Challenge. Let's go ahead and get straight into it by letting me know where you're watching from right now. Challenge has been off the, oh my God, it's been off the charts in terms of how many people have tuned in, the homework submissions. I've never seen a challenge this insane in terms of engagement, in terms of activity, in terms of community support. Let me know where you're watching from right now. We've got, this is it, we got it. So Willie's and Marios, we've got China, Greece in the house as well. We've got United States. I saw some people tuning in as well. Absolutely incredible stuff right now. We've got Belgium, we've got India, we've got Serbia, Pakistan, Kenya. India, that's what I'm talking about, guys. Ethiopia, Scotland. I see you, Siren. That is what I'm talking about. What is up, guys? United Kingdom, Bangladesh, Mexico. Look at this, guys. Marius says, your smile and energy motivates me, Sonny. Welcome, guys, to day 3 of the 5-day challenge. Here we have it, guys. Isle of Man, Thailand, Kentucky in the US. Charity Smith, I see you. Yeah, this is crazy, man. Worldwide international. Mad. Welcome to day 3, Papa Fam. It's your boy, Sonny, aka Papa React, and today we're gonna dive straight into it without further ado. This is what we're building. Remember yesterday we built all this beautiful stuff? Well, and today we're gonna have the manage plan section. So we're actually gonna have the ability to go ahead and interact with schematic components, all of that good stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and just grab a link right now as well. So we can even go ahead and change plan, do all of this stuff, go back into our app, and we're gonna get the analysis page dialed in. So right here, this page, we're going to go ahead and build it out so that we are perfectly primed and ready to go ahead and get ourselves into the position for day 4. Right, I'm getting confused with the days now, but day 4. So all of this is going to be absolutely huge. Get excited, guys. We're going to go ahead and build all of this today. Without further ado, let's see what's going on. We got Kenya in the house, Italy, India as well, Bosnia. Guys, it's absolutely mind-boggling. Honestly, when I consider how worldwide we've become, this is what the Papa Fam community is about. Make sure if you're watching right now, do me a favor. We've got 2,000 people in the viewing room and we've got just under 100 so far on YouTube. That number's climbing quick. So make sure you go ahead and like the video right now on YouTube, and that's going to help people get aware that we're live right now. Let's jump into it, guys. You can still secure your spot already. So make sure you go to papareact.com/challenge to go ahead and subscribe and join the challenge. And if you haven't already subscribed, we're still waking up today. Let's go ahead and start off day 3. So day 3, we are setting up Convex database. We are doing the YouTube video processing, right? I know I'm always about to say processing, but we're going to go ahead and process the video. We're going to do and the analysis page UI, polish and deploy. And we're also going to be doing the schematic components today. Okay, so lots of stuff to go ahead and jump into this. Now, somebody says, is Next.js 15 stable for production? Hell yes, it's stable for production. Massive yes, yes, yes. So this is what we're doing today. Tomorrow, we're going to be finishing the AI Agent SaaS app by integrating Vercel AI SDK, Claude 3.7, a bunch of stuff like the chat interface. We're going to limit the user based on which subscription they're entitled to. And we're also going to go ahead and do the deployment. So lots of cool stuff to go ahead and come your way. And of course, we're going to feature all of the best submissions for each different day. So make it to day 5 to go ahead and get access to the entire masterclass. It's going to be absolutely huge. Charity Smith goes, are we kicked out of the challenge if we're late on homework? No, absolutely not. Just submit it before day 5. Doesn't mean you're kicked out. Basically, if you submit it, you'll still get the points for submissions. And if you submit all 5, you get a bonus 20 points. The only thing is you may not get the highlighting points, because obviously when I go live, that's when I highlight. So you will not get kicked out. No, the whole point of this challenge, the way that we've organized it, is so that you can go ahead and actually get, you know, you can join it at any moment and be a part of the community and part of the movement. Okay, so essentially day 5, we're going to go dive into all of the secrets, the nitty gritty, the whole training behind how you can go ahead and leverage AI agents, especially to become the best badass developer of yourself in 2025, guys. We've now got 2,500 in the viewing room. It's climbing. I told you it would climb. So if you're watching it in the viewing room, what's up, guys? If you're watching it on YouTube, what's good? We also got AO from Australia. What's up, David? I see you. So quick little reminder, I'm going to run through this part. What can we win in the challenge? Well, first place, Apple MacBook Pro. Huge, right? And also the complete mentorship package. That is worth thousands, no joke. Some of my one-to-one students will know that. But that is literally a one-to-one package. Absolutely incredible stuff. That and a laptop, you're geared up to go ahead and succeed. I'm telling you right now, I'm so confident in that as well. So well done to future first place winner right there. We've got Sahib in the house. Good to see you. Second place winner, Keychron K8 keyboard plus the platinum membership. So much to go ahead and win inside this challenge. I also want to mention, some of you were having issues yesterday with setting up Stripe. If you do have issues, by the way, just select the country as United States or UK. Simple as, and it will work. Just want to go ahead and shout that one out, right? And third place, Clerk swag packs. We've got all the cool stuff that you guys are into. The hats, the hoodies, the mugs, all that good stuff. And we've got access to the Papa GitHub repo containing over 60 plus builds. So lots of cool stuff to go into the third place as well. And of course, for every single one of you here right now, there are participation goodies as well. Okay, so stick around to the end of today and you'll get the JavaScript book. Stick around to tomorrow, Tailwind CSS, and obviously on day 5, our brand new book, the React 19 book, which is a cheat sheet to when you're using React. We've gone ahead and custom created this just for you guys. So turn up to day 5, we'll send that over to you as well. And of course, on Jay's king of the gifts right here, right? We've got the AI Agent SaaS App source code. All right, go ahead and just shout out Jay for that one. He's the absolute GOAT of the GIF game. We just hit 100 viewers on YouTube as well. So 2,500 viewing room, 100 on YouTube. This is amazing. All right, welcome to the stream, guys. And we've got the point systems. Of course, 1 point if you like and comment on all of the YouTube videos associated with the challenge. That's what we're tracking. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All right, so make sure you go and smash a dislike button, which half of you haven't already done right now because there's 100 people watching and there's not 100 likes. Go destroy that, because what is going on? Go ahead and destroy that like button right now and you'll get a free point. And of course, loads of you are doing well on this one. Pull out your phone and tag me on Instagram with the handle that you see on the screen. Yes, that is 4 S's, ANGHA, using hashtag Papa Challenge. Okay, make sure you go and do that. Loads of you are uploading the stories. It's absolutely awesome to see the community. It's popping off. We've got 3 points if you help someone with their homework or answer someone's question in the community. And this is absolutely amazing. Ayush, we are seeing you in the community. Ayush, Siren, you guys are absolutely awesome. But here you can see he's helping somebody out with the Clerk integration, and he's very active in the community. So lots of bonus points going around for him. Monish dropping some key information as well. So in this case, you guys can see, this is what is really, really nice about the community. It's all about just giving each other that edge, helping each other overcome your issues. So this is where the community aspect comes into it. And 4 points if you refer somebody into the challenge. Okay, 5 points for submitting your homework. So we got the question earlier that answers your question. Yes, if you submit your homework, 5 points for every submission, and 20 if you've done every single submission up until day 5. So much engagement throughout the community. You guys have seen it for yourself. I'll go ahead and open it right now. The University of Code community is such an amazing community. You guys can see right now, I'm dropping in looms. Everything is popping off in here, and it's just the place to be if you're in part of the challenge, whether it's now or whether you're watching the replay of this in the future. Go and join the community and get unstuck on whatever problem you have. Okay, so this is what it's all about, right? The stakes are even higher today because the challenge is getting more intense. So we're going to go ahead and dive into a bit of a bigger build. So of course, to separate the winners from the losers, there's no losers here, guys. Everyone's a winner, right? We're going to jump into some bonus points. Of course, if you sign up using the Schematic link, 50 points, and the Clerk link, 50 points. You can find both of these links in the description, as well as in several places throughout University of Code. In the classroom, you can see it here as well. We've got in the homework sections, all of these different, sections right here. You can go ahead and see, find all of these details and the links. Go through the link and you get straight up 50 points, 10 points as well for implementing Clerk elements, which, by the way, blew my mind as to some of your submissions. We're going to run through that in just a moment. Jay also just chucked it in the chat as well. If your build gets featured, you're going to get 10 bonus points. So let's go ahead and feature some builds. Right, and also 10 points for adding new features. This is really going to happen today and tomorrow, so make sure you guys go ahead and just push it to that extra mile. Right, go that extra mile with this. And like I said, do not quit. I know it's going to get tough. I know it's going to get difficult, and you guys are going to see yourself right now. You're going to see the numbers decrease as the days go on with the submissions, with the number of people watching live. And do you know why? Because those are the people that want to give up. Those are the people that want the easy route. And those are the ones that are forever going to complain about somebody else taking their job or some other rubbish. You guys right here, right now, watching this, are the different ones, the ones who want to succeed, that are going to succeed. And these are the ones that I want in the community. So welcome and thank you to everyone who's tuning in today. Let's go ahead and jump into some of the ground rules. How do you post into the community? This is all self-explanatory inside community. At the top of the post, you just go ahead and click here and you can go ahead and post. Make sure you throw in the AI Agent SaaS challenge for better visibility, okay? As well as the classroom section, all of the updates and everything that you need are there, including downloading the app so you never miss out and you can access it from the phone, okay? Yesterday's day 2 homework: build the landing page, implement the authentication with Clerk elements for bonus points, and of course, Schematic and Stripe integration, which lots of you overcame, by the way, which was absolutely awesome. Proud of you guys for that. And then we have, oh God, this honestly, I'm just speechless at this one. 2,100 submissions for day 2. I genuinely thought you might have got stuck or hiccup on a couple of things, but you can see the number is not 3,000 like yesterday, 2,100. So the competition's getting fierce. So buckle in, guys. Make sure you go ahead and dial in, because those numbers are going to keep coming down as the winners start getting revealed, okay? Let's check out the best build submissions. We've got Tech2Tube, which is Peter Thomas's build. Guys, I'm going to shout him out right now because this is clean as hell. My only thing that I didn't like about this one was, I don't know if it was, whether or not it was completely hand built or if it was a template. Either way, well done. But mostly, a lot of the things were not clickable. So only include the things which are going to be actual elements on the web page. But beyond that, design-wise, so damn clean. I love it. Very, very clean. Very, very nice. But don't just have random stats for the sake of having stats. But otherwise, Peter Thomas, that's why you are getting featured first, because it's so, so clean. We have Steven from Digital Alchemist. Absolutely incredible. Awesome stuff. Followed everything along and mainly implemented dark mode. So great stuff, guys. This is what I'm talking about. Notice how even the title changed for Content Pilot. I see the little details. But then we have Ayush. Guys, I ain't gonna lie, this is one of the cleanest I've seen. It's just so sleek. Like, it's so sleek. You've done the right amount of motion inside of it as well. Like, some might say it's a bit over the top with the motion, but for me, I just think you've got a nice balance here of what you've done. Very, very clean. Very, very nice. You're definitely on the radar here. This is good stuff, guys. We've got Siren. Siren's absolutely an OG in the community. Really, really nice stuff. I like what you did with the footer as well. Change the header. And what I'm saying, guys, is it doesn't have to be massive changes, over the top, drastic changes. Clean aesthetic, simple design with clear messaging. So very, very nice stuff. Create a feed. We have Abdul Ali hitting that like and dark mode as well. Really, really clean build over here. Congratulations to you. The only thing I would say here is your maximum width is a bit on the extreme side. You see how, look at especially the footer, that you want to kind of keep it into the neater side of things. Edward as well, really, really like this one, mainly for the top bit. He basically integrated it as if it was a YouTube video at the top. Very, very clean. Bonus points for you, GenTube. And then we have Manoj as well. I really like the sort of cyborg logo that you went for there at the top. Very, very clean. It's like a heartbeat, you know, very, very clean, very, very nice. I also like the background at the top. You'll see he's actually blended in some kind of, look at that. You see that? It's very, very clean. And then we have a special shout out to Brendan Sick. He spent $200 on his domain name. That's what I'm talking about. That's the level of passion I'm talking about, guys. Absolutely awesome stuff. He's determined to get this thing off the ground. Brendan Sick, shout out to you, dude. Jay, what was the actual URL? Send it through and we're going to give it a shout out because you deserve a shout out for that, dude. We got Stephen Watkins as well. .ai domains. Why are you so expensive? He committed for the launch as well. So he threw in $150 as well to go ahead and get an AI domain as well. Yeah. Why do you think AI domains are expensive right now? Because people are clocking on. People are realizing that this is a gold mine to be taken for, right? So it's absolutely massive. Steven goes, it cost me $150. Okay, so we actually got Brendan's AI URL here. It says trendfast.ai. Shout out to that, trendfast.ai. Well done, dude. Absolutely awesome stuff. So head over to trendfast.ai. Very nice name, by the way. And you guys can see .ai is very much a trendy thing right now. And congratulations to everyone who I shouted out. You guys can see yourself. 10 bonus points for all of you today. Now, before we jump into day 3, pull out your phones, tag me in your stories, easy points right there, pull it out, get the thing done. And that way we can go ahead and show the community is popping off. And let's jump into the build. We've got day 3 today where we're continuing with the app, Convex database, YouTube video processing, analysis, page UI, polish and deploy it. And we've already featured the best deployment. So let's jump straight in, hopefully better off than this kid. All right, so in this case, Jay, I swear to God, you kill me with these gifts. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive straight into this one. And I think the first area that we're going to dive into, and I'm going to go ahead and just showcase something as well, is I actually want to go ahead and give a demo of the final build. And I'm going to change the music up a bit because I want to get flow stated in. This is going to be some more intense stuff today. So don't get scared. It just means that we essentially need to go ahead and just focus a bit more. Okay. Stephen goes content-pilot.ai. The only thing I would say with those names is the dash is a bit harder to roll off the tongue. Like agent trendfast.ai, easier to say, content-pilot.ai, bit trickier, but still go check out both. Absolutely deserve shout outs for that. All right. So guys, let's quickly sign into my account and I'm going to show you what we're going to build. And we're going to keep the energy relatively calm so we can focus. Okay, so it's the main thing. We're going to break it down step by step. There are going to be, checkpoints in this video where we're going to basically go ahead and you can watch it back. So let's go ahead and click on manage plan. This is the first step. We're going to go ahead and build out this section right here. Now, this is the awesome part about Schematic, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the slides because we don't need these anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and shut those down so it doesn't kind of bloat the computer. Something about Chrome. Don't know what it is. Oh, Chrome, the slides. And what was I doing? I was actually about to just do the schematic. There we go. So we're going to go over to Schematic and here we have it, guys. Now, yesterday we hit a little hiccup with the upgrading, but now we don't have to worry about that. It's all good. We're all happy with this now. So if I was to go into the actual application, see what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll open up a separate window because I need to have a few more things open. Let's open up another tab. I'm using Arc Browser for anyone wondering. And then as you can see here, so if we click on manage plan, we're going to finish off setting up the entitlements from yesterday. Okay. So if I go to change plan, you guys can see this is the final build. So don't worry about this. We've got 5 transcriptions per month and video analysis tokens on the free plan. So head over to your Schematic. And if you haven't already, catalog free. I'm going to click into this. And then we've got plan entitlements. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, thank you, Marius. I appreciate you so much. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go ahead and watch yesterday's video and this will make total sense. So at this point, we've already done video analysis 5 per month. Let's also add in the transcriptions. So we do feature transcriptions included in plan, and we simply set it to 5. And as you can see now, guys, this is really, really awesome. So on the free plan, you basically choose what they get access to and what their reset day is. So in this instance, we're going to go ahead and do, according to the billing period, every single month, you will go ahead and get your 5 transcriptions. So the reason why we're doing 5 here is we want to go ahead and give them a trial of the app. Now, I would even go to as far as to say you could do 2 or 3. And obviously this is experimental, but in this case, we can go ahead and do it like so. Okay. Now, somebody said, do we need to resubmit the form when we add new features? Well, you need to go ahead and submit your homework for each day. So I would recommend that you just go ahead and you could just redeploy, or better chance if you resubmit, will probably be a better chance of us seeing it. All right. The Prime says, thank you, Sonny, for teaching everything I know to this. I appreciate you. You're absolutely welcome. Okay. So let's go ahead and dive into this. We've got the free over here. Now we're going to go into the starter. For starter, we've got script generation, 50 title generations. So script generation we already turned on, 50 video analysis, and we've got title generations. We're going to do 50. I like this track. This is like my flow state track. And then we've got monthly. Let's do this. According to billing period, save changes. So we've got the script generation, title, transcriptions, and video analysis. So we're missing transcriptions. And as you can see, this is what it should be when we're handling pricing. It should be very simple. We just set up what the user gets. This is why I love Schematic so much. It's just very, very intuitive. The entitlements, why is it called an entitlement? Because when the user is on the starter plan, for example, they are now entitled to this many of this feature. Okay, so in this case, they're entitled to script generation just being toggled on. They're entitled to video analysis, 50 of them a month, 50 title generations, 50 transcriptions, and so forth. And then we've got the final one, which is a creator. Okay. script generation, and then we're going to go into creator, 300 image generation, script generation, all of the goodness basically. So script on, let's do image generation, which by the way, the others didn't have. Let's go ahead and set this up. So monthly, according to billing, save changes. And then we've got the next one, title generations, 300, period, monthly, oops. And according to, and of course you can have different, you know, different accesses here and so forth. And then they got 200. Oh, what the hell? 296, no, 300, 300. There we go. Oh, it's because I'm scrolling down. 300 title generations. Let's do the next one. Transcriptions, 300 of those, period, monthly, select, boom, and then save. And then we have one more, which is video analysis. Give the person 300 of those every month on the billing date, boom. And that is it, guys. Just like that, we have all of our plans set up. Now there's one more step. When we click into catalog, configuration. Now, what does this do? Well, when you first sign up, we have to give you a default plan. Our default plan that we want to go ahead and give is the free plan. So we're going to say everyone should get the free plan when you start off. Okay. And then live plans, you see how it says 0 live at the moment? We have to add in our plans here. So we're going to add in, for the live plans, only plans with a Stripe product and a default price can be selected. So we're going to actually have all of them. We're going to have creator, free, creator, starter, and creator. Boom. Yeah. Guys, you can also play around with live add-ons. That is you're going to need an upgrade to do that, but add-ons could be like an additional 50 analysis tokens and so forth. That all of that is powered inside of Schematic as well, which we didn't even touch, but you guys can feel free to play around that yourself. Oh, I forgot to save it. My bad. Let's go ahead and do this. So free, starter, and creator, save changes. And just like that, oh, my mic. And just like that, we're going to go ahead and you can see we've got the yearly plans being thrown in as well. Click save and boom, configuration is good. Okay. So with that done now, and I was going to say as well, guys, we've got a huge amount of viewers right now, 2,500 in the viewing room and 100 on YouTube. Amazing stuff. Just make sure if you're watching on YouTube, do me a solid and destroy that like button right now. Okay. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to integrate the component into it. Now, what component? Remember yesterday we created a customer portal. I'll show you from scratch. Now I'm going to delete the old portal, create a new portal. Let's just call it the customer portal, or there could be the pricing portal. But in this case, we're just going to hit customer portal. And now we have here. So invoices, I'm going to grab that. I'm going to stick it underneath the payment method. Okay. Now invoices would look something like this. It would be your previous invoices. Now I want you guys to customize this. Go into design, change the styles up, do all that you need to do, as well as if you want to change the layout, you can do that, and coloring. I'm going to keep it as the default for now. Probably what I will do just for now, so you can see it in action, is I'm going to change the tone to be something along the lines of, I was just going to give it a little bit of a change anywhere so you guys can see what's going on. So in that case, look, we got a bit of red in the mix, right? So just something to show you that I did change it. And then what I want to do, you can, of course, can click through the different options, right? Now what I want to do is I want to click on save. And now how do we embed this? So this drag and drop component builder, how do I actually put this in my app? And you're probably wondering, Sonny, that looks really, really difficult, right? How do we go ahead and do that? Well, in this case, we're going to go ahead and make things a lot simpler now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on the get embed code and how to install. So if you get the embed code, you'll see we get this, right? Where we have a token and all this goodness. So you can go ahead and obviously copy this. And this is a good starting point for us. What we're going to do is we're going to go into our code. So let's get our code up and running now. So pull our code up over into the mix. And now in our code from yesterday, we're carrying on. If you're watching the replay, make sure you go back a day so you can kind of catch up to this point. So components, inside the components folder, we're going to have a folder called schematic. And in schematic, what we're going to do is we're going to create a schematic component and a schematic embed. Okay. Now the schematic component, well, the embed is going to be the interesting one. Actually, let's do it here. So let's do schematic embed.tsx. Okay. And we're going to paste it in, right? Now here, I'm going to rename a couple of things. I'm going to say schematic embed. I'm going to do a default export. So export default. And then what we're going to do is we're going to import schematic embed as schematic embed component. Okay. And I'm going to rename this one here. So this is kind of the get-go, the starting points, but you can see, look, we don't actually have the schematic components installed. So what you do is you grab this, go into your terminal, and you want to go ahead and run the install command. So pmpmi and install schematic components. Now, obviously I'm using pnpm. If you're not using pnpm, you can just use npm. Okay, I'll make it a little bit bigger just for you guys to see, and you can see it's installed the dependency. Cool. So we have that done. Now, of course, what is this about a token and all this stuff, right? Well, what we have here is a token which gives us access to that specific component. So it's like a temporary token essentially. So if we look at this now, and let's go back into how to install. And as you can see, it says set up components, and we've got Node.js or Go code. And here you can see this is the backend code. Anytime we see Node.js, we're talking about backend code. And if you see over here, this is the React front-end code. Okay, so we have component ID, we have if the component is not found, and then we have an access token. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to refactor this component. So we're going to actually take two props. We're going to take a access token, and we're going to take a component ID, right? And I'm going to make sure that we type this correctly. So it's going to say access token, and then the type definitions are going to be for access token and component ID, both being a string. Cool. So this is very simple, and this is simply going to be a client component. Now, with this done, we can actually move over to the wrapper component. Now, what do I call this wrapper component? Because as you can see, this is a client component, right? It's going to render on the client. But what we can do here is leverage Next.js in such a way where we can get that access token from a server component first. So what we do is we call this one the schematic component.tsx. You can call it a schematic wrapper, whatever you kind of want, right? We'll do RFCE. And now we're going to say that this is a asynchronous function. And I'm going to go ahead and actually we're not going to say use client because this is not a client component. Now, well, the goal of this one is to go ahead and eventually render out a schematic embed. And this schematic embed is not coming from the schematic component. It's coming from our local schematic embed. And as you can see, we need to pass in the access token and a component ID. So how do we do this? Well, the only thing that we're going to pass into this component is called a component ID. Okay. So this one's going to be the component ID. So it's going to be component ID. Now, of course, what we next need to do is get a access token. Okay. Access token. Now, typically back in the day, what you would have had to do is make an API request. So you would have an API endpoint where you would ping the API endpoint, which would be our backend. We can securely get our access token, and then we can come back and we can do this. Now, what we can do here is we can use something called server actions to make life so much easier. So we're going to create a helper function, not called access token. It's going to be called get temporary access token. And you can look at this example here. And basically, this will go ahead and give a company scope temporary access token to make requests on behalf of the company. So how do we get this working? Well, what we do is we go into our folder, and we already created a sample action yesterday. I'm going to create another action, and this one's going to be called get temporary access token.ts. Now, the first thing what we have to do when we're declaring a server action is we have to make sure it stays on the server by saying use server directive. Okay. Now, once we've done that, what we do is we create a function. So we're going to say export asynchronous function, get temporary access token. And this is going to be our server action. Now, the first thing is I need to know if the user is logged in. If they're not logged in, we should stop right now. Okay. So how do we do this? Well, I can go ahead and actually get access to the user because Clerk has made it so easy with the current user hook. So we can simply use this, and this will give me the user. Now, if the user does not exist, we can simply go ahead and say, if there is no user, return no. Okay, we can just simply say return no and be very much done with it. Now, if there is a now what we should be doing essentially is going ahead and issuing a temporary access token. Now, how do we go ahead and do that? Well, firstly, we need to create a schematic client, and this is going to need a backend library. So you can see this one right here, schematic TypeScript node. Now, if you want more documentation on this, you can simply go to SDKs and go to the Node.js side, and you can see these are the instructions to go ahead and install it. So we're going to go ahead and simply do this right now. So let's go ahead and do that step right now. So let's go back over here, go to our terminal, pnpm add the following. Now, once that's done, we can go ahead and import the schematic SDK. And then we should have this. Now, what we want to do is first up, we want to make sure we have our API key. So we're going to say const client equals new schematic client. And then this expects a API key. And this API key will be something. And then we basically go ahead and pass it in. Now here, we should be using environment variables. Okay. So which environment variable do we need? Well, in the documentation, you can click on the issue an API key and it will take us to the relevant place. Now, I think we already did this yesterday. We went ahead and did I'm sure we did this, yeah. So go into our dashboard and let's see for ourselves inside the dashboard. If we go into our settings, API keys, and we actually did create a publishable key, which consisted of two things yesterday. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to show half of my screen. I'm going to show you my environment file. Well, that's fine. It is what it is. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to hide these keys anyway afterwards. So in this case, we've got the schematic API key and next public publishable key. So the one that we're interested in right now is the schematic API key. Okay. So this one right here, what we want to do now is go ahead and change it here. So we say process.env schematic API key. Now you could do a little check here, to be honest, where you basically go ahead and say something along the lines of this. You say const key equals process, and then you can say if no key, and then you can throw an error here, and that will basically prevent them from going through. And if you really want to make it clean, you can say API key, and then you can change this to API key, and then this can be shorthanded like so. Cool. Okay. So with that in mind, now we have the client. Okay. So show your screen almost every time. Yeah, I know. Honestly, I revalidate the keys, I change it. I revalidate the keys, I change it. But anyway, we get there. Press them because is it live or recorded? It's live. Crazy. 2,500 people locked in right now. Mad. Okay. So we got the client here. So in this case, now what we're going to do is we're going to say const response equals await client dot. And you can see I get all this stuff here. Access tokens is the one we want. If you're wondering how the hell did he find all this stuff? Well, we head over back into the documentation. You can see I'm just using this, the documentation. Okay. So we say access tokens dot issue temporary access token. And then, oops, don't do that. And then we pass in some of the requirements. We've got lookup and resource type. Now, resource type is going to be company. Remember, because every company is associated to a user in our instance, a resource type is going to be company. And then the lookup is going to be the ID, which is going to be the user ID. Okay. And now what we do is we get the response and we simply say return response.data.token. Okay. And just like that, we will now have an issue. We have an issue access token function. So what we can now do is inside of our code is very, very clean. We can go ahead and comment this out, pull this in. And you see, because we haven't got a use client call here, by default, every single component in Next.js 15 is a server component by default. Okay. So Andy B goes every time showing the keys. I know. It is what it is. Rich Steve goes, can I join the challenge or is it too late? You can absolutely join. There is never a late moment. Even if we finish the challenge, still join in and go along with the videos. This is going to be forever open for anyone to join. And I really hope you do. Okay. So at this point now, what I want you to do is we're going to go ahead and have the following. We're going to say, firstly, if you didn't pass in a component ID, okay, if there is no component ID, we're going to throw an error. Now you can throw an error. It's very aggressive though. We're just going to return no, to be honest, in the beginning. So we generously handle that. The next one after this is if we don't have an access token, that's an issue because something actually went wrong there. So in this case here, we would throw a new error, failed to get access token. Okay. And then what we do is you see, we pass over the access token and component ID. Cool. So now we have essentially our setup. We have our server component, which gets the access token, passes it to our client component, which renders out the schematic embed from schematic. Cool. We've done all the hard work now. This is where it absolutely gets mind-boggling how simple schematic have made it for us. What we can do now, guys, is we can go over here and into our page. And what we have is we have the manage plan. Now, what I'm going to do is I've got a bit of haywire going on here. So I'm going to go into my localhost 3000, which is my local app right now. Okay. Let's sign into this app. And this is where we got to yesterday. So let's sign in. And we're doing very well for actually timing and pace. So we're signed in now, and I'm going to click on manage plan, and you can see it's a 404 here. I like how what they've done here. It's very cool, right? And we're going to do we've got 404. So manage plan. How do I create a manage plan page so that I can then put on the component from Schematic? And I'm swapping between the production and the one that we're working on, right? So the way we do that is inside of app, page.tsx represents the home page. So what we can do to make a manage plan page is we just create a new folder inside and we say manage plan, and we create a page inside of it, page.tsx. We do RFCE, and then we basically go ahead and rename this to something manageable. So we can say manage plan page. And this is the manage plan. Now notice just by hitting save, we have a page. Amazing, right? This is good. And now in the manage plan, it's as simple as popping in our components. So let's do a little bit of prep work here. I'm going to go ahead and just throw this over here so we can see this for a sec. So this is a bit of a nicer coding experience now. So we've got the manage plan. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a container with a bit of padding on it. Very nice. And then instead of manage plan, because that's boring, we're going to have a manage plan H1 and a P tag. Okay. So we've got manage plan and a P tag. Okay. Now, underneath this, you're probably wondering now, this is where I want to really emphasize what they've done so well here. I'm going to go to Schematic. Now, I've created this from drag and drop components. All I have to do now is copy this code, this command, this component ID. I literally type in schematic component. So schematic component. I pull it from our components and I pass in an ID, which is this one right here. And guys, are you ready for this? I hit save and then watch this. Look at this. I mean, come on. That is so easy, guys. Look at this. I've got my users usage amounts. I can click change plan. I mean, come on. Like back in the day, you would have had to have all the craziness of Stripe checkout session, You guys just saw here first how easy one line of code. I think that deserves a massive hats off to Schematic for that, right? They've done an amazing job there with this. And the amazing part about this, guys, is it handles everything now. Okay, you ready for this? I'm going to go into starter plan. Okay, I want to join a starter plan and I'm going to create a payment. Let's go ahead and do a payment. 4242 is the test number. So if you do 4242 on Stripe, you get payment test numbers. And we can go ahead and click on save payment method. And guys, watch this. If I click on pay now, we can even have discount codes, all this goodness. Pay now and watch this. It's as simple as this, guys. I see a subscription updated. It gets refreshed. And then let me go ahead and refresh. Boom, I'm on the starter plan. Look at that, guys. Absolutely incredible. Worked just like that. And as you can see, expires. If I go to invoices, I can see the entire invoice here. There you go, guys. Absolutely incredible stuff. I can download it as a user, see it was in test mode. Guys, that's so powerful right there. And you can see it knows what plan I'm on. And now, as the user, I can click manage plan. Now, I don't know if you guys understand that in literally 5 minutes, we just implemented the entire payment system. Let that sink in. I'm gonna give that deserves a moment of appreciation right there. When in less than 5 minutes, we just did the entire payment system. Like, if that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what should blow your mind, because that is absolutely incredible. I'm gonna open up my Stripe right now. And I always get paranoid that my personal Stripe's gonna pop up. So in this case, yep. So you can see right here. Now in Stripe, obviously I'm British in it. So we have my payments are in pounds over here. If I go to balances right now, or let's just say transactions, we can see, look, a $9.99 transaction was just made. I'm just going to make sure that it doesn't show any personal info here. So test. And now if I go into that payment, we can see that it has all of the payment details successfully processed. And if I scroll down, again, I'm just hiding it because sometimes it can show IPs and stuff like that. At this point, if I go to the product catalog, I believe it's there. So we can see, or customers. Yeah, customers. Sonny, Sangha. I get paranoid that I'm going to show something. Yeah, okay, here we are. Boom. If I look at Sonny Sangha, product starter billing monthly 27th of March, $9.99. And I want to show you something. What if I want to upgrade or downgrade? Well, in this case, I want to upgrade to a creator plan. Cool. Let's go ahead and do this. Oh, I've actually expired my session, so we have to refresh because it lasts for 5 minutes. So in this case, if I click change and I do choose plan, next checkout, and let's go ahead and pay now. And look at that. Look, it automatically applied all the changes in pricing because I'd already paid a certain amount. And then boom, we have this. Now I'm a creator. Cool. So what happened in Stripe? Surely that must be really complicated, Sonny. And how the hell does all that work and calculate itself out? Well, not really. Handled all of it for us. Look at this. Boom. We have the starter. And as you can see here, now I'm on the starter plan. So was it starter? Sorry, I'm on the creator plan now. So let's go back to customers. And we should have seen a transaction. Oh, cool. My Stripe's bugging out now. I have it here, I believe. Let's go transactions. So maybe it just takes a second to come into it. But the main thing to consider here is that we have it. And the reason why I can tell this is true is because my invoice is here and it's processed correctly, okay? So in this case, you can go ahead and see, boom, you got, and we already have all the plans active, selected, and working. And we can obviously downgrade between these two. We've gone over the limit for the free tier because I was testing a bunch. But as you can see, even if we want to switch to a yearly plan, we can go ahead and do that as well, right? So all of that is absolutely amazing. And there we have it, guys. You can go ahead and get it set up. Oh, sorry. No. There was no mistake on their end. I just went to my production one. This one, this one. I did the red button. That's why I did the red button in the first place. Oh, okay. That was my mistake. That was my mistake, right? If we click change plan, I was wondering what the hell was going on, right? So in this case, creator, right? And here, there we go. There we go. The numbers weren't adding up. There we go. Let's choose plan. Now you can see, look, it works out the difference. I already paid $9.99, $29, and this, there you go. And it also works out pro rata time. Okay. Now let's go ahead and pay now. Okay. My bad. Now, in this case, look at that. Pay now goes ahead and calculates everything. Let's just check in on the thing over here. So if I do a refresh here, we should see another transaction come through here. Boom. There you go. My mistake. My mistake. So in this case, now we have creator. There you go. It adds up perfectly. I was wondering, I was like, something ain't adding up here. And in this case, if I go to Sonny Sangha, you can see I am on the creator plan. Amazing stuff. That's exactly what we wanted. So you see how it worked out everything, and now I'm on the creator plan, and it says Sonny Sangha on creator. This is perfect, guys. This is exactly what I wanted. It works out all of the details. It does everything for us, and that you can even run a simulation on Stripe side of things. So there you go, guys. Absolutely amazing stuff, and it works. Cool. So if your platform or where you are in the world right now isn't supported by Stripe, all I recommend you do when you set up the Stripe store, just select a location which is, right? So especially if you're doing this for a test project, if you're doing this for production, of course, you would have to be in a location that is supported. But for test purposes, if it's for a portfolio piece or something, then I just definitely recommend you just change the location and so forth, right? Somebody goes, the adverts on YouTube were in live stream. So in that case, guys, just go ahead and get YouTube Premium. Straight up, I'm sorry, it is what it is. Support your creators. Okay, so in this case, we got the managed plan already done. So all of the payments are done, right? That was absolutely simple as that. Okay, so very, very nicely done. Now let's do the analysis page, right? So we're making absolutely good way here. Let's go back into our code, and it gets confusing when I've got so many apps open. Yeah, there you go. I should probably change the color of our production one to this one. Maybe I will do that. Maybe just so I can see the one inside of my production is going to be this. I'm going to make it green. So production is going to be green. So there you go. If you see a green, to be like, Sonny, that's the production one. I just changed it. Okay. So green is production. So it screams at me. This is our current one. There you go. So I've done that on the fly. All right. So now let's jump back. So localhost 3000. We should be seeing blue. Okay. So now we want to do the analysis. So we've already done, you know, the whole flow where the form sends us to another location. But let's go ahead, and obviously I was looking at a camera video recently. So if we go ahead and do a URL, so in this case, like the URL, well, it'll strip off the URL or the ID here, and we click analyze, and let's see where that will happen. So if we go into the page, so page.tsx, and we see the YouTube video form is where we did this, right? Now the form has the analyze YouTube video function. Now here, the video ID. How do we get the video ID from this? So you see when I post this in, how do we strip the video ID? Well, let's go ahead and build that functionality now. This is actually way more simple than you can imagine. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our lib folder, and we're going to create a helper function called get video from URL. Okay. And what we're going to do here is this is going to be a simple function. So it's going to be a function which simply takes a URL and returns a string or a null value. Okay. So we're going to start with a simple empty variable. It's going to be the video ID. Next up, we're going to go ahead and have an if statement, which basically go ahead and conditionally checks a bunch of different conditions. So we start off, we say if the YouTube URL is shortened, okay, then we're going to go ahead and split it based on the URL format like follows. Okay, so in this case, you can see here, I'm just going to make sure that we actually return it at the end. So return video ID. There you go. So if the YouTube URL looks like this, what we're doing is we're doing a split function, and we're split it according to our regex function. And you can feel free to look into this exactly, or if you're using something like Cursor, if you ever come into code that you don't understand, I'm telling you this because I want you to self-learn as well, is what you can do as a little trick is say I'm in Cursor and do Command K, and I can say explain this, and then I do Option Enter, and as you can see, what it will do now is it will literally explain the entire line. So look, using no, so basically we'll explain the entire description, and I like using Sonnet. You can say explain it more. Okay, oops, I didn't generate. So in this case, I mean, you can, if you do generate, it will just give you the actual step by step, right? So in this case, you can go, there you go. So that's just a cool little neat bit of advice for you, right? And then we do else if the YouTube URL is a short. Okay, so if the YouTube URL is a short, then we're going to go ahead and support that as well, and we strip it off like so. All I'm trying to essentially do is get this final video ID, right? And the final bit is if the video is in the standard format, which most of the time it just includes a v equals, then that is essentially the way that we're typically used to it. So then we split it off based on that. Okay, so you can see the split means you basically grab this and then you split that off into an array. So that would be the first part, and the second part would be something else. One way to get descriptive comments for documentation. Yeah, you can do that exactly as well. Right, so in that case, we have our get video ID from URL function. Heading back over now, we can go ahead and pass this into our function like so, and we can get rid of that. And now we've got our video ID, which is stripped. What I recommend you do here is you can console log things out, right? So in this case, you can console log and say the video ID, and do this a lot as you're debugging. It will help you a ton. You can say video ID is and now if we were to go into here, and what I recommend you do is Next.js will go ahead and render out server logs inside the console now. So if we were to go ahead and pop out a random ID, so let's go ahead and do this one from Marquez Brownlee. Boom. And you can see if I go ahead and do this, well, actually, we didn't actually run it right now. So analyze YouTube video. Where is this getting used right now? So if we go into our YouTube form, it submits that form. It goes ahead and hits this. And then video ID is actually, we can check. So, okay, it didn't actually send it over. So video ID is, it found the ID. This is the main thing. Look at your logs. You can see video ID is this. So that's how you debug essentially here. So we know that's working. And then we redirect to video/ID analysis. Okay, so if I go ahead and do this now. Oh, oops. Let's go ahead and do another one. So what I'll do is I'm just going to grab a link like so. And as you can see, if I was to open up my debug log, and what you can see is if you're using Arc, just a little word of advice here. If you was to copy this URL, open up a second terminal, and then you open up another tab, you should get this debug view, which is a lot nicer. So now I can always see the full URL. That's way more useful when I'm coding. So now you can see video/the ID/analysis. Okay, now how do I build a page for something which has a wildcard, such as this video ID? Okay, so what we do here is we go into our file format, folder structure, sorry. And in the app directory, we basically start building out this route. So video / wildcard, which could be any value, / analysis. So how do I do that? So I create a folder called video, and then I create another folder with a square bracket notation. And I'm going to go ahead and say that that is simply going to be represented by the video ID. So video ID / analysis. And now you can see I've got 3 folders, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now only on the final one, I make sure I'm clicked. So the underline is there. New file, page.tsx. Make sure that this is inside of the analysis folder, RFCE. And then what we do is we say analysis page. And now just give it a little bit of a check-in. So let's go ahead and do, there we go. And now you can see analysis page. So if we were to test out our app again, I'm going to go ahead and just do something quickly. There you go. I got my link. And if I go ahead and do enter, boom, analysis page. We no longer have a 404. So getting to this point is a very good step. Make sure you follow through and get to this bit. So I love this. Just reached from the university to take Sonny's masterclass, so I haven't completed day 2. Mark my attendance, AI agent. There you go. Quick little water break, but you guys are absolutely dialed in right now. 2,500 people still in the viewing room at minimum. The number changes, that's why I'm rounding it. And then we have 116 right now in YouTube. Quick little water break. Okay, let's go. So jumping back in, analysis page. So for the analysis page, we're going to break this up into sections. Now, what does this final page in its full glory look like? Well, it will look something like this. So let's go to the final page, and here is what it will look like. So this is basically a picture I've just gone ahead and found online from Marcus Brownlee. In this case, you see we've got this left side and the right side for the AI agent. So we're going to have 2 sections here, and on a phone, it's going to be looking like so. So the chat is going to be minimized over here, and then the left side here. And this obviously the right side is where we can say hello. We can start chatting away to our application. And then over on the right, the top side here, we're going to have that now. Did I expose my, I was going to say, yeah, I hope I didn't expose that key. That key would be expensive. So in this case, you can see this is a layout that we essentially need to do. Somebody says, how can I get to the previous video? So Jay will actually add the previous video link in the description as well. I think that's a very good idea. So add in Jay in every single video, have the previous video to day 1, and then the next video to the next subsequent day. But you can literally, it's all on my YouTube channel. Okay. So at this point, we've got the left side, the right side. Let's jump into that. So let's make it smaller. And now let's just draft out. So we got left side, right side. Okay. Now, what do we do here? Well, essentially for the outside container, let's give it a bit of base styling. Well, it's going to be a container on extra large screens and above. And that's going to obviously be centered. And then of course, we're going to give different padding rules based on what screen you're in. And then we're going to have a surrounding div, which is going to encapsulate both the left and the right side. So it's handy that I've actually got these. The reason why we do this is we say on a phone view, it's going to be a 1-column view. You see how everything's in 1 column? Otherwise, it'll become 2 columns. So you see the left side and the right side. So that's essentially what we're doing here. So in the extra large screens and above, we have a 2-column view. So this is 1, this is 2. And then on a phone, we essentially have, boom, a 1-column view. This is 1 column. Okay. So how do we do that? Well, we remember it's mobile first. We say, okay, mobile is grid column 1. And then as we hit a large breakpoint, a large screen, we're going to say grid columns 2. Simple. And we say a gap between them of 4. And then what we could do here is just to go ahead and say left side, right side. So test this at this point by doing the following. You see left side, right side. I'll make this a little bit bigger for you. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so you do left side, right side. That's just how you can debug it to make sure you're at the right point so far. Okay, so these are kind of like internal checkpoints that you can do for yourself. All right. Now, instead of this, we're going to have divs representing each side. So this is going to be obviously better, a div here and a div there. Okay. Now, the left-hand side is going to be consisting of a couple of things. So the first thing we want to account for is the analysis section. So let's go ahead and just comment this in. We'll say analysis section. Cool. So that'll be the first part. The second part will be the YouTube video details. Now, when I talk about the YouTube video details, I'm talking explicitly about this right here. This is the YouTube video details. So in this case, this is going to be YouTube video details. Cool. After that, we've got image generation here. So this is going to be the thumbnail generation. We can call it image generation. We can call it the thumbnail generation. Let's call it thumbnail generation. Yeah, it's easier. And then we have title generation, which is next. So title generations, title generation. And then we have transcription below it. Okay. So we have transcription. Cool. Hit save. That's going to be our left side. Now the right side is going to be simple. It's going to be the AI agent chat section. Okay. So in this case, now we just start building these out, right? Ignore this. It's just AI filling in. And we're going to do it in a reasonable way. We're going to have a bunch of order to it and so forth, right? Now, the first thing that I want to actually mention is if I type in a P left side and I do a right side here, what I actually want to do is I want to make sure that the right side comes on top of the left side when it's here, because this is where the chat's going to be. So essentially, if I say chat, right? So let's just say cool stuff on the left. So imagine the cool stuff's on the left and the chat is on the right. Cool stuff on the left, chat is on the right. But when we go here, the chat should be on top. How do we do that? Right? Because that's going to surely that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Look, the chat comes below it by default. So what we do is we basically go ahead and use ordering. So we say order by default is 1 on a mobile view, but order becomes 2 on a large screen. And then we flip that. And on this left side, we say the order is 2 by default. And then on the large screen is order 1. And now you can see, look, it's flipped the ordering. So you can look into ordering yourself, but now we've got the correct ordering by using order 1 and order 2 appropriately. Cool. The next step is for this container, we're just going to give it a bunch of rules. So in this one, we're going to go ahead and give it a flex rule, flex container, gap 4, background of white, large border, and we're basically going to go ahead and give a bit of styling. Same for the right side, except for the right side, we're going to make it a sticky section. Okay. So in this case, we give this a sticky. It's going to say top 20. Height is a set height of 500 pixels. And we're going to say MD is a height. And we calculate this based on the header. So it's always going to take into account the header section. Okay. Now, if I head back over here, I'll show you what we mean. So that now you can see that we've got a very nice layout here. Notice how the chat takes up a chunk of space. So if we go over here, that's the exact same thing. The chat is actually taking up the same element of space. You see how my cursor doesn't move? You see the chat takes up the same element of space. So this is what you want to do to initially get ready to build on top of things. So I hope that helped out, you know, that kind of layout section before we jump into each individual bit. Okay. Let me have a quick little water break. A very good pace today, by the way. So this is actually really, really good pace. So in this case, now the first step is this is going to be a reusable usage component. So these are going to be usage components. They're going to pull the user's usage values. Now, usage is one of those things where basically I want to tack into Schematic and make sure that I have access to, you know, all of that stuff. And yeah, I want to basically just tack into Schematic here. So how do I do this in a reusable way? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a usage component. So this is going to be a reusable component that is going to help me more simply track the user's usage metrics. So we're going to call a usage component, usage.tsx, RFCE, and then that's it. Cool. We have a usage component. And this is going to be a client component. Okay. Now let's go ahead and firstly, okay, so the next step is we need to pause here and we need to actually create some kind of type safety between our features inside of Schematic. So all of our different features in Schematic, as well as, you know, the different events they fire off, the different tag, all these things. I need some, thank you, Charities Map, I appreciate you. I need some kind of type safety here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a helpful section here. So we're going to create a new folder, a new folder on the top layer, click package JSON, create a new features section, folder, sorry, and we're going to have flags.ts. So this is going to represent feature flags. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have an enum, and an enum is basically a strongly typed way of basically saying that, okay, if I do feature flag dot transcription, it always relates to this string. The reason why we use enums is because doing random, or not random, but doing weekly, or let's just say like, if I was to type in a string and type in transcription, there's so many ways I can incorrectly spell this. I could do this M, I could just type in 2 I's or O. So what we do is we use an enum to basically make sure we always use feature flag dot transcription, and it always comes out to this string. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a more helpful function called feature flag events. Okay. And this is going to be a record, which is a strongly typed data type. And we're going to go ahead and say that it's the first thing is going to be the feature flag. And the second thing is going to be an object, and it's going to have an event inside of it, which is a string. Okay. Now, this is going to be, each one is going to be a key value pair or a record. Okay. So the first one, what we do is let's go ahead and just pop them in, and I'll explain what is going on here. So there we go. So in this case, the first one, the key, these are key value pairs, key being the feature flag, value being an object with a string inside of it. Okay. We're not using LangGraph in this build. We're actually using Vercel AI SDK tomorrow. FY. Okay. So somebody asked a question. So in this case, like each of the following transcription, image generation, analyze video, and title generation and script. Now it's your job to check one thing. Does this match with our definitions here? So for title generations, so in this case, we've got title generations here. So this title generations should perfectly match this title generations. The event generate title should be perfectly written here as generate title. And all of these should match. So it's up to you now to go into yours and make sure that each of these are correctly typed in. Now you can pull these values from the actual SDK. So as in you can actually pull this from Schematic itself, but we're doing this in our own type way. So that way you have your control element of this going on, right? Now script generation doesn't have an event because it's a Boolean. So we're just going to leave that one empty, right? And you can feel free to rewrite this however you want. But in this case, this is how I built it. So you've got the different feature flags and everything. So you can see that's all the only setup that we actually have to do. Okay. So now what we can do is we can start using this. So where we have usage, which is our reusable component, which is going to look something like this inside of our app. Here. So for example, this is an analyze video usage component. Well, what we're going to do is, in order to figure out which one we're tracking, this is going to take a feature flag and a title. Title will be the text that we demonstrate here, all right? And the feature flag is going to be the thing that we're going ahead and tacking onto. So the feature flag is going to be of type feature flag. So feature flag. And you can see we import that from feature flag. And if I click this, that is essentially what we're only allowing. So now if I try to pass in a random text string, it won't work. It will only accept one of those. The next one is going to be a title, which is a string. Cool. And now we can go ahead and start using this. So inside of here, we're going to use some handy hooks from Schematic. So what we do is let's import those hooks. We're going to have 2 hooks, use Schematic entitlement and use Schematic is pending. The first one, use Schematic is pending, tells us if Schematic is loading on the client side. This is important because we need to know if it's loading. The second one is use Schematic entitlement. And this gives us a bunch of different things. So if I press Control Spacebar, you can see all of the different things it passes along with it. We're going to take along with it the feature allocation, feature usage, and value. And we're renaming is value to is feature enabled. So feature allocation and feature usage, what are they? Well, essentially what they are, if I go into Schematic here, a feature, if we go into any feature, for example, so the entitlement, so 5 transcriptions per month, that is your feature allocation. Feature usage is how many of those you've used. Okay, so if we were to go into manage plan right now, we can see a real example of our different allocations and usages. So in this case, this user is on the creator plan and they have 300 allocation, 0 usage. Okay, and is feature enabled? Yes. So all of these features will be true. Okay, so this is how we essentially do it. And we pass in the feature flag. The feature flag is represented by that right there, which we have so nicely added into our flags section. So flags, so transcription. That is the feature flag. And if you look back over here, you see how it says flag, transcription. So this is how feature flags work. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is all it needs to go ahead and do that. Right now, if a user has used up all of their tokens, we're going to create a little helper here. Feature usage and feature allocation and feature usage, making sure that they all exist, or these two exist. Then we're going to check that if it's equal to or greater than the feature allocation, this will become basically true, and it'll say, okay, you've used all your tokens. So we can conditionally render basically a block there. Now, if it's pending, we're going to go ahead and say, okay, there's going to be a loader. Now I'm just going to put a simple loading state here. So I'm just going to say return loading. Okay. Otherwise, if you've used up all of your tokens, this one is going to be a very, very simple. So if has used all tokens, we can just put simply a normal div here, which says you have used all your tokens for this feature. But I've got something a bit nicer here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and firstly show you the component we're going to use. So we're actually using a component from ShadCN called progress component. And you can actually see an example of it on the homepage. So an example of a progress component, I don't actually have it here, but a progress component could be something like, that is kind of a progress component, yeah? So if we go to docs, progress, this one, yeah, that's what we want to use. So pm dlx add ShadCN latest, but we're going to change this to canary because we installed it via the tailwind v4 method. So in this case, I do this. I go back into the terminal. I'm just going to change that to canary. Add progress. And now this should add the progress bar component into our application. Boom, done. Create a new file. Heading back over, Command J, Command B. If I look over here now in the UI, I can see a progress component. So we can use this now. So what I'm going to do is I'm firstly going to just pop in a div, and this is going to be a relative div. And it's going to have the progress component. I'm going to import it from not radix, but from our internal UI progress. Cool. And this is just going to say, you have used all of your available tokens. Please upgrade your plan to continue using. And now what I'm doing here is a nice little kind of child element selector, where basically I'm allowing us to go ahead and select that inner element and basically make it red. So there's a little bit of custom code there. So that's all that's doing. It's saying by default it's going to be gray, otherwise it's going to go red. Right, so if we were to use up, for example here, this would become red by default. Okay, and I'm going to use that in a bunch of different ways later on. Okay, now rather than saying you've used all your tokens for the feature, this part I'm going to chuck it in, and you can pretty much pause the video here after and just go ahead and copy this if you want to. But this is just a block which takes the title, feature usage, and it basically and the feature allocation, and it styles it in a way that looks exactly the same as this. You see how we've got a nice little background color over there? And the only final thing we have to do is, you see this top part? We're going to go ahead and just make this styled a bit nicer as well. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Now the styling again, the reason why I don't go into line by line on this is because you can feel free to pause the video here and do that yourself. Okay, now that is only going to get rendered if it has used all tokens is true. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing. If the feature is not enabled, we're going to scream at the user and say, whoa, 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 you're not allowed to actually, you're not allowed to use this feature. Okay, because this is disabled until you upgrade. Okay, so here I've got a nice little bit of code, which is essentially going to be the following. And again, I'm going to pop it in. You guys can feel free to, pause the video at this point. This is what we just popped in. All it is a div with two divs inside. The first div is just saying feature disabled with the title. The second div is just a progress bar with an upgrade to use this feature. And essentially what we're doing here is we're just graying it out. A lot of gray is being used to render that feature as disabled. So this would essentially say disabled. Okay. So once we've done that, we can go ahead and we need to calculate the progress for every single, bar. So in this case, 17 out of 300 would render up to this point. The calculation to go ahead and do this is go ahead and say const progress equals, and then we've got the first bit is feature usage over divided by feature allocation times by 100 to work out the percentage. So some simple math here. And then what we're going to do is create a progress helper function. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm calling this one progress color, and it calls our get progress function. And what this will do is it takes a percentage, which is a number, and if the percent is greater than or equal to 80, it'll return a background red. Remember we did that over here. So remember for the progress bar, we've done this. So if it's red, it'll say you've used all your tokens, and it'll change the color of this bar to red. Well, I'm going to have a little helper here, which just says if the percent is greater than or equal to 80, it'll give this back. So BG red. If it's greater than or equal to 50, it'll give BG yellow. Otherwise, it returns BG green. And we're going to use that inside of our styling. Okay. So the next step is this div right here. We're going to have a div inside of it, which is very, very similar to what we first had as well. So this div just simply has a title feature usage over feature allocation, which is essentially this top half here. And then we've got the progress bar underneath it. So underneath that div, we're going to have a div. And this one is going to be relative. I don't know why we did relative actually. I'm just wondering. Maybe it was because of the progress. But in this case, we're going to simply pop in the progress. And what we're doing here is we're simply styling it, and then we pass in that progress color, which will change the color based on what number we're at. And now if the progress is greater than 100, or if it's greater than 18, greater than or equal to 80, we should give a warning message to say you're nearing your limit, or to say, okay, you've reached your limit. So the way we do that is we have a ternary operator, which says if you've hit 100, boom, p tag comes up, you've reached your usage limit. Otherwise, if it's greater than or equal to 80, warning you're approaching your usage limit, or no. Okay. So in this case, now let's see if we can use this component. Okay. So let's go back over to the analysis itself. And here, guys, we are going to have the analysis section first. So let's go ahead and pop this in first. This is going to be a div, and this div is going to go ahead and have the usage component. So let's go ahead and pop in usage. And this usage component takes a feature flag. So the feature flag is going to be equivalent to feature flag dot. And you can see, look, this is an enum. See how nice this is? Now I can just tack into which entitlement I'm talking about. So analyze video, and the title for this, I want it to look like this: analyze video. Analyze video. Hit save, and now what we should see, look at that, guys, amazing stuff. Boom, analyze video comes up, and notice how it says 0 out of 300. Okay, that's really, really cool. And it says cool stuff being rendered underneath it. Okay, so we got the chat. Oh, sorry, that's that bit. Yeah. So now you can see that the layout is all good. Amazing stuff. Okay, so we got this. Now, what I actually want to do is we're going to have the video transcription status later added here, because this is going to be how we determine what analyze video does. But we can determine that bit afterwards. Right now, well, that's when we set up Convex. Right now, we just want to style this bit a little bit more. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go into that outer div, give it a bit of styling, and now you can see it gives it this nice little box. Okay, and that's going to be the same box that we essentially use over here. Okay, so once that's done, eventually we're going to have the video transcription status here, and this will make sense as to what we determine an analyze video is later on. Okay, next up we have the YouTube video details. Now the YouTube video details is going to be something really important here. So let's go ahead and firstly destroy that like button. Yeah, this is absolutely huge, and I'm going to go ahead and quick water break before carry on. Okay, so this video detail section, so this video details section is going to be a lot of things now you'll start to notice are going to play off the video ID that we actually got in the beginning of this. So notice how inside of this page, we have access to the video ID. So it was actually here, I believe. So let's copy this video URL. Let's just pop it in here. So notice how when we're on this page, it's video ID / analysis. So to get that wildcard value, Digital Alchemist, we have 2,600 now in the viewing room, which is nuts, and 130 on YouTube. So number just keeps growing. It's actually crazy. So the video ID, to get that video ID up, what we can do is we can go ahead and to get that video, sorry, as we are inside of the analysis page. So firstly, I'm going to make this a client component. So I'm going to say use client. And then the second step is I'm going to go ahead and inside here, I'm going to say const params equals use params. This is from Next navigation. Okay. Now for this, what we can actually do is we can give it some type definitions and we can give it the video ID. And that's because this video ID correlates to that video ID wildcard there. So we're essentially pulling that value from it. So what we can do is we can say const video ID, destructuring, ES6 destructuring to get this. Now, with that in mind, we have the video ID. So we can start to pass this down to separate different YouTube video detail sections and stuff like this. So what we want to do now is we want to go ahead and they need to come boost the likes. So honestly, you'll see a lot of the videos tend to have that focus, while afterwards they'll come and watch the video back and then they hit the like button. But yeah, so many people need to smash that like button. It's actually crazy. This is free. Smash the like button. It helps the channel out so much more than you understand. All right. So this is going to be the YouTube video details, which takes video ID as a param. So let's go ahead and build this component out now. So go into our components, create a YouTube video details.tsx RFCE, and this is going to be the component that we're building next. Okay. So first up, this is going to be a client component. So use client. What is going on with my English? There we go. Use client. We go into our analysis page and let's import this. So you can see now we import it, YouTube video details pops in. That's how we import it. Back over to the file. This takes a prop. The prop it takes is the video ID. Okay. So the video ID looks something like this. And now you can say video details, video ID, and you should see the ID on the screen. This is your quick way of testing if it came through or not. So depending on what video you have, it will go ahead, strip the video ID, and then go ahead and pop it in here. Now, how do we go ahead and get the video details? This is a more interesting part now. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a piece of state, which is representing the video itself. So in this case, a use state, we're going to have a piece of state, which holds the video details, and that we don't currently have. So what we need to do is we're going to create a folder at the top level. So package.json, create a folder called types. And inside of here, we're going to have a types.ts file. Now, inside of this, we're going to have essentially a video details type. And this is going to have access to the channel. And the channel will have a few details inside of it, which is essentially this. So title, thumbnail, subscribers. Now, how do we get this information is a question. So this is where we use the YouTube API. So in this case, we're going to pull in our types. And now, how do I go ahead and get actually the video details? Well, when YouTube videos component mounts on the screen, we're going to call a use effect. And this is fired off when the component mounts on the screen. Okay, so firstly, we need to import this like so. Now, when the component mounts on the screen or when video ID changes, what we do, and you can watch my use effect video if that is confusing to you in any shape or form, or we can actually go ahead and do, guys, the concurrent views are climbing. It's nice. We're going to go ahead and say const fetch video details, and it's going to be an asynchronous function. Okay. And what we're going to do in this function is we're going to literally call a action, a server action that we haven't yet written. And this is going to be called get video details. And then what we do is we set video to the response of this, and then we simply call our fetch video file function. Okay. So that's how you do an asynchronous code block inside of a use effect. You have to do an inline arrow function and then boom. Okay. So now what we do, we have to create video detail, get video details action. So we create a video details, get video details, server action. And now inside of here, it's going to be a server action, use server. And over here, we need access to the Google APIs. So we need to install Google APIs right now. So what we do is firstly, we're going to go into here and we're going to say pm Google APIs. And this is going to install the Google API into our project. Now, in order to get this working, well, firstly, we are going to have access to the video details. So in this case, we're going to use our type definitions, but we're going to actually initialize the Google API like so, google.youtube version v3, and then we're going to need to set up a YouTube API key. Now, how do we get our YouTube API key? All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pop open my environment file. It's going to show. Yep, there you go. It's going to show. It's fine. Then we're going to go ahead and say it's not fine. You shouldn't do that. But we're going to say YouTube API. And this one is going to be a key. Now, how do we get this key is the question. So what we got to do is we head over to Google Cloud. Oops. We say Google Cloud. All right. Now, on Google Cloud Platform, we just go to the Cloud Console. And this is console.cloud.google.com. And in this case, you see I've got a build up here. What you want to do is you want to create a new project. Now I've already created a project, but I could show you right now, to be fair. Let's create a new project, and I'm going to call this one AI Agent Challenge Video. Okay. And then I'm going to click on create. And as you can see, it will start creating. Okay. So you see it says creating project AI Agent Challenge Video. Okay. Now, while it's doing that, what you want to do is, so right now, once that's done, so you want to kind of wait until that's done. Notifications, you see it created, select the project, and you can see I'm in the project. We want to go to the navigation menu, go down to API and services, and then we want to find the YouTube API. So we're going to click on enable APIs and services. We're going to type in YouTube. And you can see YouTube data v3. Click it. And then we're going to click on enable. And in order to use this now, we're actually going to need to go ahead and set up comments. You may need to add billing into your platform. So that's a non-negotiable in order to get access to it. But in this case, we're good. What I can then do is I can go over to credentials. So you see it says create credentials. It actually prompted me already there. If we go back over there, or what was it? You could have you could have clicked that. Click create credentials here. API key is what we need. Okay. So it creates an API key, and I'm going to hide that one because I don't want you guys to see that one. Although I'm probably going to slip that. I know it. So in this case, what I'm going to do here is show you. So we have an API key. So I'm going to copy this API key. Okay. Copy that and then head back into my code base. So I've copied my API key and then I head back into my code base and I paste it. Boom. Okay. So in this case, I have my YouTube API key here. I save and I go ahead and close that file. I did it very neat there. Super sneaky stuff, right? In this case, YouTube process and YouTube API key. Now, it's worth mentioning whenever you don't see next_public, this is anything, only these environment variables can be accessed on the client. When we don't have that, it's hidden on the client. That's for good reason, because we only want to show certain environment variables on the client. So you have to declare them as next public. Otherwise, it's only available on server, which is how we keep things secure. So by default, that's why it's written in that way. So now how do we get the details from YouTube? Well, let's create a helper function. We have our video ID that gets passed through. And what we're going to essentially do is return some information. So what I recommend you do here is you start debugging. You say fetching video details for video ID. And then this allows you, if at any point you get wrong or go wrong, you can go ahead and do a little debug session, right? So we're gonna have a try catch block. If anything goes wrong at any moment, we're gonna go ahead and return or console log the error, and we're gonna return no. But from inside this block, we're gonna go ahead and start building. So the first thing that we wanna do is we wanna fetch the video details and the channel details. And we do that by saying await YouTube videos list, and then we do statistics and snippet, and we pass in the video ID as an array entry, okay? Now, once we have that, we get access to the video details by simply accessing the first item that comes back. That's going to be the video details. If it's there, that's where it'll be. If for whatever reason it wasn't found, it will throw an error saying video not found. Okay. Now the next step is we want to get the channel details. So the channel details requires a second call, right? Sonny's saying, digital alchemist, because Sonny's moving fast. Yeah, guys, I am moving fast today, but for good reason. Remember, you can literally go ahead and watch this back, you know, play it slowly, and so forth. So everyone's hyper focused right now. Yeah, I can see literally the view count's growing. So if the video details, you're gonna throw an error. Now, here what we're gonna do is we need to get the channel details. So we need to do a second call to YouTube. And this one is gonna say channel response equals await youtube.channels.list. So you see the first one was youtube.videos. The second one is channels.list. We pass in snippet and statistics, same as before. But this time we're passing in the channel ID, yeah, or an empty value, and then we pass in the key, okay? And now, I don't know if we actually need to pass in the key again. We may not need to pass the key again, but I'm just gonna keep it in there for now until we can validate that. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the channel details. And the channel details come back. So now I've got my YouTube video details and I've got the channel details, okay? So what I can then do is I can go ahead and throw a vlog, video details fetched successfully. And then I'm gonna create an object called const video. So const video details is of video details type. And this is of the types that we declared earlier. Okay. So in this case, now we have the video. Now what you want to do is you want to go ahead and get the video information firstly. So this is going to be the title, the thumbnail, and the published at. So the first couple of bits are going to be this. Title, which is video details.snippet.title, or we're going to say unknown. Thumbnail is we're going to go through all the different possible ones that they give back, or we return them to string, and published at is going to be the published at variable from the response that YouTube give. The second bit of information is going to be the video metrics. This is the views, the likes, and the comments. Okay, so this is the views, the likes, and the comments, which you can get from the video details.statistics. And notice how this is how we queried for it here, statistics and snippets. Okay. Now, once we've done that, we're also going to give a channel information. This is going to be in a separate object that I pass through. So channel, and this is going to be an object with title, thumbnail, and subscribers. And that comes from the second call that we made over here. Okay. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and hit save. And then what we do is we return the video details fetched successfully. We don't need that bit here. What we do is we return the video. Cool. All right, so once we've done that, this will go ahead and get all of the YouTube video details provided we did it correctly. So now what we can do is we can pull in that function. Cool. Now we've got the video inside of our YouTube video details. And then what we can do here is outside of this, if there is no video, we can say video is not found to begin with, okay? So this will now be whenever we load the YouTube video details. So let's go back in here and you can see YouTube video details renders out this. And let's see here. So you see right now it says video not found. So if we were to refresh, you see it says video not found, and then it popped in the video. Okay. So that means that it did find something. And to test this, what we could do is we could do console log video. And if I was to go ahead and show you the console logs inside of here now, and we refresh, you guys can see that we now have a, look at this, boom. We have all the details for the video plus the channel details inside of it. Now you guys can see here, boom, there we have it. Okay. So now I can use that information. And because I added type definitions, we can safely code this next bit. Okay. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go ahead and pop in the following. So rather than just say, you know, the random thing here, we're going to go ahead and pop in a div. So a huge surrounding div. So let's go ahead and pop this in. So doon. Now you might be wondering, whoa, Sonny, what is that? What is @md? Whoa, this is called container queries. Now I'm not going to go too far into container queries, but this is a very powerful feature inside of the Tailwind CSS. And what it means is typically we've so far covered how everything that we write in Tailwind CSS is mobile first, which means if I write a rule, it applies to mobile. And then if I put MD or LG it will hit that breakpoint, and depending on the screen size, and size up or apply that style based on as and when it hits that screen size. But what if we want to not do by screen size, but we want to do by the container parent itself? So if that container ever gets to a certain size, I want to change the style. That's where container queries come in. In order for a container query to work, however, the parent has to have the @container directive. So @container, and you can see that container type inline size, BG white rounded XL. Now, this will get applied if the container hits a specific width size. So this is really powerful inside of Tailwind. Yep, many people didn't know this. I'm not sure if it's Tailwind v4 to be honest, but you can check it out. Tailwind container queries, very powerful stuff. Okay, like it's very, very handy feature. So the first thing we're going to pop in is the video thumbnail. Just go ahead and pop in the video thumbnail. Now, video thumbnail is popping. We need to import the Next.js image tag. And this, I'm just applying some basic styling here. This will error because you see how the image comes from YouTube servers? We need to configure this to actually go ahead. I love the new errors inside of Next.js. Very, very nice. We're going to go ahead and copy that host name, go into our next config. So next config.ts. And here what we do is we type in images. And then what we do is we say remote patterns. And this takes an array. And we pass in an object. And here we have host name, path name, port, right? So we say the host name is YouTube image. And then we say protocol is HTTPS. And now this will restart our Next.js server automatically when we hit save. Go ahead, go back, hit save, hit refresh, and boom, just like that, we have an image in just a minute. There you go, guys. And notice how, look, media container query. So if that gets a bit bigger, we'll see as well. Well, that's not actually styled correctly right now. So right now that's not looking as I wanted it. That's actually, that should be bigger on the screen. So I probably need to style this up correctly, but we'll get to this and why that is happening. I think it's because of, oh, I know why. Silly me. So this is because of the parent. So if we go back to the analysis screen, over here, inside the analysis screen, we've got YouTube video details. I will debug that afterwards. I mean, probably something very, very simple that I'm just missing here. Flex column, container, and the image. That's fine. I'll debug that one afterwards. But next up, we have the video details and the information in the video. So this is going to be a separate div that is going to have a flex scroll container. Okay. And this container is going to go ahead and have, the first part is going to be the H1 video title. This is going to be the video title. You guys can see here that iPhone 16. So this is wrong. So that means I've set up the parent container wrong. So obviously it shouldn't look like this. So let me just check what's going on here. So we've got the surrounding div, which is my container. Then we have our flex container. And I believe my container queries are not working. So we have to install container queries, which I thought was already installed, to be honest, on Tailwind container queries. Let me just double check where I've not done this. Container queries a plugin for blah, blah, blah. As of Tailwind v4, supporting the framework by default. Now, let's just double check that we are using Tailwind v4. So package.json Tailwind v4. Yeah. So interestingly enough, it should be enabled out of the box here, but it's not being applied here. So Tailwind container queries. Why are we not seeing it here? Let's do container queries, responsive design, and container. Yeah, so we should have our container queries. I don't know what's going on with that. It's very strange. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is actually restart my, let's go here and let's cut the server, run the server again. I'm definitely missing something very small here, which I'm overlooking. If I go into my Tailwind config, let's have a look. So I don't even have a Tailwind config. So the new Tailwind v4 setup is way more stripped down than normal. So we hit refresh. Interesting. Okay. The reason why this is a bit interesting is because see breakpoint initial moving default breakpoints. So right now I wonder if here we are. Viewport to the head of your document. So that's what I needed to do. So interesting. So that's very, very interesting. That's new. So that's not even when I started my project. So that's why I'm not seeing this right now. But there will be a head component. So if I was to put a head component, I just want to double check something. So we do pull in a global CSS here. We do import that. Now, a little bit of live debugging right now, guys. Meta name viewport initial with blah, blah, blah. Name meta name viewport. Thing is, I don't want that to be, I mean, for now, let's pop a head tag like so. That's wrong. That's not, well, firstly, we know that analysis video is working. That's good. If we hit refresh, there you go. Nice. Head. It should be a next head tag, to be honest, as well. Okay, so interestingly enough, in Tailwind v4, okay. This is very annoying. So this is already fine. So we don't need to actually even worry about that. It's the container queries. So container queries are modern CSS framework. Use the class to mark an element as a container, then use various elements like container, MD, flex, row. So maybe I've done something so stupid here. And let's just go back here. Add container. No, that's right. So you see, look, if I was to get rid of that, then it works great. But that's never becoming a flex. To be honest, I didn't even need it in a row. So I don't know why I was doing that in the first place. But that's very interesting though. Just a FYI, in case anyone's wondering. Okay. For now, we don't need that. The video thumbnail. That as well. Okay, the video thumbnail is fine. Okay, that's fine for now then. We don't need that, but it's very good to know. Cool. So here you go, a little bit of live debugging. What I do want to keep is the @container class, because the query, that one. And I do want to check something. I want to say something like, let's just do something wild, like @medium BG red 500. And let's just see. Okay, look guys, look. So you see that only on a medium. So on small screens, it's not there, but once we hit a medium, it will go red. So See medium, it goes red. On a small screen, so technically that's not even a small screen. So on a, let's just say on an extra large screen and above. So you see how it's not there, but then on an extra large screen, it's there. So that just goes to show you that the media queries are working. So, there's a nice little bit of debugging there, to be honest. Cool. So in that case then, video info, let's just carry on with it. So at large 3XL. So you see how it's small here, but on a large screen, boom, 3XL. Yeah, that's cool. So it's working. It's working. Oh, okay. Interesting. A little bit of live debugging to never hurt anyone, to keep me awake. So let's go ahead and have outside the H1 tag, the channel info. The channel info is going to have an image of the channel. So this is going to be the following, like so. And we actually have another link we have to whitelist. So it's going to be the channel info. So that comes from a different URL. So next config, we're going to add in a host name, which is the same as that, and protocol HTTPS. I love that. Siren goes, Sonny, I have foreseen this debugging session. That's awesome. Exactly. Next choker brings. I social as me post, but it's Next.js and recent quick updates frameworks. I don't think it brings that much work. I think it's just it's low key. It's just a learning curve. Like I wasn't aware that it was implemented, and obviously in my prepped code it was Tailwind v3. So now, if anything, it's kind of an upgrade for you guys. So, but that's the reality of coding. That's why I do live, by the way. So I want you to see real stuff breaks, and then I will fix it on a live stream in front of you. So that's why I hope value comes from these, right? By the way, 200 people nearly on YouTube and 2,750-ish people on the viewing room. Boom. Mad. If you're watching from the viewing room, click into the video and hit the like button, please. Because the live video, the like count is just lagging. Crazy. Seeing Sonny debug helps me do the same. I love that. All right. Next up, we're going to have some information about the channel here. So this is just going to be a div with a P tag and a P tag. The first one is going to be the title, and the second one is subscribers. And look at that. You can see that. Cool. Now, underneath that div, we're going to have the video stats. Okay. So that's going to be that's actually the channel info. And then next up, we have the video stats, which is going to be the following. It's going to be a grid column 2, but on a large breakpoint on the container query, it goes to 4, and then a gap of 4 and so forth. Now, what does this mean? Large. You see on a phone, it becomes 2. Oh, no, it never actually changed. Interesting. Grid column 4. Never actually hit that breakpoint. Anyway, we'll see now if it changes it. So let's go ahead and have a div. First one here is going to be the following. This is going to require us to import the calendar icon. And what this one will do is this one is going to have 2 divs internally. One is a P tag with just the published date. So you can see here, published date. So you can see published date. The second one is going to be for the first bit is published with the calendar view. There you go. Published. Yeah. And what I've done here wrong, by the way, guys, is this. I did this wrong. So the channel info, make sure we're outside of the channel info. Okay. So I just realized I put that in wrong. So channel info is here. Outside of that is where we put the video stats. There you go. Yeah, it should look like that. Okay. Now that's going to be the first one. The second one is going to be for the video views. So we just got a bunch of these blocks here now. So the first one was for the calendar. The second one is for the video views. You can import the I from there. That's going to be the video views. And again, you can pause this and go ahead and, follow along with that. So it's just a bit of styling here. The second one's video views. And then it's going to be the same for the likes and the same for the comments. So likes is going to be this with the thumbs up from Lucide. And then we have the final one, which is going to be the comments from video, right? Message circle, import all of them like so from the top. And now you can see the following. Okay. So down over here, we've got the grid columns 2, but on large, grid columns 4. Ah, there you go, guys. So and here it never actually hit that. Interesting. Maybe I didn't have a container set up correctly. So on a large container, you see how it goes in a line. But over here on a smaller container, it goes into a grid column 2. So you guys are learning a lot actually with the container columns as well. right? So this is the YouTube video details, and let's just check this works the way we expect it now. So if we go back, let's go ahead and pick another YouTube video, for example, a desk setup tour. This one just popped up on my feed, boom. See analyzing, and then boom, disk setup, right? Now, right now it says video not found. You can make that pretty, make that look nicer, do whatever you need to do. In this case now, that's pretty cool though. So you see how it fetches loading GIF? To be honest, that would probably be nicer. A little loading GIF or a loading kind of, you know, thing. Right now, I've got this, but I could just do, and again, I'll show you a little cheat code here. So if you're using cursor or something, you can just say something like, you could just pop in and say tailwind, CSS, spinner, centered. And this is just an example of how you can use something like cursor to help you out a little bit. Boom, I'll give you a little centered animation spinner. Oops. And now, for example, if we hit refresh, look at that little spinner. Ah, there you go. Nice. Very cool. Yeah. So just a little bit of a FYI. That's a nice way a little bit in the speedier developer. Nice. So at this point now, what we can do is we've got the video details down. Next step is the thumbnail generation. So let's go ahead and do that bit. The chat is essentially just going to be there for now because that's correct, because the tomorrow's part is the chat where we build that. So that's why we've got this block at the top, right? That's why it might be a little bit confusing right now why there's this gap at the top, but ignore that. Essentially, all you should be focusing on is this, this right here. Okay. So next up, we want the thumbnail generation. So thumbnail generation. So let's go ahead and build out that a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna have the image generation. So this is gonna be the thumbnail generation, which takes a video ID. So let's go into our components, create it, thumbnail generation.tsx. Okay, now over here, we're gonna have the function or the URL. It's gonna be use client. And this is going to take video ID like so. Now this one, we need to get the user who is logged in, because eventually we're going to go ahead and use this inside of our Convex query. And the main thing here really is we want to go ahead and showcase if there are images, we handle it in a certain way and so forth. So basically here we're going to have const images equals, and then for now I'm just having empty array, but really this will pull from the database, pull from Convex DB. Okay, so pull from Convex DB. So for now, I'm just going to build out the styling around it, and then that way we can replace that afterwards with what we need to. So the first step is this. Oops. There you go. So go back into this area and let's pop this in. Thumbnail generation. And you can see we've got thumbnail generation starting to appear. Okay, so what we're going to do, well, firstly, we're going to have a usage, right? So the first one, remember, this is the golden thing about using reusable components. So I want usage, pull that in, and we're going to pull the feature flag for image generation. And then straight away, bam, we have our usage quota for thumbnails. So you see now if I was to refresh the page, boom, loading, thumbnail generation. This is the whole point of using reusable components, right? The next thing is going to be the simple horizontal scrolling for the images. So underneath this div, we're gonna have simple horizontal scrolling for images. Now, what am I gonna do here? Well, I'm simply gonna map through every image. Okay, so I'm gonna basically say images.map. I'm gonna map through every single image, and this will render out an image. Okay, so firstly, I wanna check to make sure that the image exists. So what I do is I say image.url and only if the image URL exists am I going to render out a div. Let's just say a div where the key is going to be the image ID. And this is all going to bug out a little bit because at this moment in time, firstly, image is an empty array. And you can see here, it implicitly has an any type because we haven't given it, like, where are we getting this type from right now? Well, we don't actually have anything there, right? So that makes sense. The reason why this is being written out like this is because for now I'm just styling it, and then eventually I'm going to add in the class. There you go. That's better. I'm going to pop in the image. I'm going to show you how we pull this from the database. So we've got the div with the image, and this is going to be pulled in from Next. We don't need loading image. There you go. So this right now obviously doesn't show any images because we have no images. It's an empty array. We're going to pull that from the Convex database, and that's where it's going to be. Now, if there are no images, what I want to instead do is show a no images generated message. So this will look something like the following. So here I have a if images.length is non-existent, so nullist check, then we just render out the following. No images have been generated yet. And this is what we should be seeing now. So no images have been generated yet. Cool. And the reason why we want this is because eventually once we connect Convex to this, once we develop or once we set up the sort of, the part where it actually generates the thumbnail, which will happen most likely tomorrow, then we're essentially going to say when we generate the thumbnail, we're using the AI agent, it will upload it to the database and then it will handle that side of things. Okay. So what we're going to do now is have title generations. Okay. So firstly, you can leave this with the red errors. It's fine for now. Okay. Well, actually, you're probably going to get a deployment error at this point. So we actually will need to give this a value. So we can do that. I'll tell you what, let's carry on for now, and then we will handle that afterwards. Okay. So I want you to get a bit of presentational steps done before we carry on. So we're going to do title generation. Now, title generations follows the exact same formatting. Title generations will be here. So title generations, video ID, and then we need to create this component. So go into our components, create a title generations.tsx, same exact principle, right? We say this is a client component. And then here we go ahead and we say video ID pass through. This one is going to have the same thing. It's going to have const user. We need to know if the user is logged in. And then we're going to say const titles. And for now, it's going to be an empty array. And eventually it's going to be a to-do pull from Convex DB. Okay. And next we're going to have a outside p tag. So this one, we're actually going to start this. First up, let's go ahead and pop in this. It's starting. Let's go into our analysis page and let's import that in. And now what we should see, title generations. So over here now for title generations, we're going to have a usage. So we're going to use our usage. So instead we're going to have a div, and inside of here, we're going to have a usage component. So again, this, you can see the benefit and beauty of this. And then what we do is we import our feature flag, title generation. That's actually going to be title generations. You see how easy it is to mess up on that? And here you can just say titles. Now you can see, look, boom, component comes straight in, pulling those values in, right? Now for this, we're going to give it a minimum width of 52, right? So the usage, I don't even think we need that anymore. I use that for something else afterwards, but for now, I'm just going to keep it in. And then what we're going to do is the same thing. We're going to have, if there are no titles generated yet underneath, then we're going to have the following. Now this is titles generated, or is titles generated yet? That's going to come from, or is title generation enabled? Well, how do we know if the titles, is title generation enabled or not is there? Well, we're going to use the same schematic entitlement that we used earlier. Remember, we used it inside of our usage component. So this one right here, we import it like so. We pass in feature flag title generations, and you know what? We can actually use another one as well. So they actually have a couple of helpful feature functions that you can use schematic flag, and then that will give you a direct example. But I'm just going to keep it very simple for you guys. Just use this one and rename the value to is title generated. Is title generation enabled? We're just doing a double bang to change it to a Boolean, which I think is already a Boolean, to be honest. Yeah, so it's already a Boolean. In this case, we need to say, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as doing that, really. So if it's not enabled, then we say no titles have been generated yet. Okay. In this case, yeah, we're doing double bang in case it hasn't been pulled through yet. Okay. Now, once that's done, we want to go ahead and, wow, the viewership is growing. That's crazy, guys. Amazing stuff. All right. Now, that's for if no titles are generated. But if you have generated a title, we're going to have a div inside of it. And then we're going to map through all of the titles. I'm going to map through every single title. And for every title, I'm going to have a div. And the div is going to have the key title._id. And this is going to come from Convex eventually. The styling is a little bit more complicated than this. Guys, wow, Jay just told me we almost have over 3,000 in the viewing room. That's nuts. We have titles, and this is freaking out why. So that's because I passed in the class name here. So boom. Class name. And then here, if I just put a p tag, hello. What have I messed up here? Titles, douche. There you go. And then instead of a hello message, we're going to have a div. And inside of this div, again, you can pause this button, screenshot the styling and stuff. We're going to have the title inside. And then we're going to have the button click. Now, the button click is going to trigger a copy to clipboard function. So whenever we have a title that's generated, there'll be a copy to clipboard button. If I generate a title here now, and I go ahead and just let that do its thing. So you see the AI agent is going to go and generate a title now. I'll show you how we do the copy to clipboard in a second. So we're going to use that. We're going to create a helper copy to clipboard function, and it's going to easily use the this one we need to create a toast navigation toaster after. That'll be done tomorrow. But right now, Navigator is a built-in API, and it basically allows us to access the copy function. So Navigator clipboard.write text. That's the browser API. And as you can see, it's going ahead and it's generating it right now. So in this case, as you can see, boom, we have a title. And if I clicked it, that's what you would eventually get. So we'll do the toaster tomorrow. Right now, this is freaking out because it's got an any type, which is fine for now. It's all good. Okay. So we've got the titles done. That's all good. We've got the only one we left is the transcriptions. Okay. So transcriptions, we're almost there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to halt at a certain point so it's not too overwhelming today. I'm thinking that's going to come after the transcription point. So yeah, I think after transcriptions, we will do that. So I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's good, actually. I've got an idea. So here, we're going to do transcriptions, which takes video ID. And this one here is going to be the same concept, guys. So we're going to components, transcription.tsx, RFCE, boom. Now transcription, we're going to go ahead and this is going to be the same signature like so. It's a client component. We're going to go ahead and create. Firstly, check if the feature has exceeded its usage. So we can do that by doing the following. We can pass in these and you see future usage exceeded. This is a Boolean that should come back if I've used all of my transcription values. Okay. I need to keep a piece of state for the transcript entries. Now, transcript entries are going to be in the format of text and timescript array. So in this case, what do I mean by this? Well, it's going to be interface transcript entry. We need to also have this restate text and timestamps. Why is it? Because this is going to be text and timestamp. So that's exactly how my array is going to look eventually. So what we do is we keep a piece of state, which is an object, where we have the transcript, which is the entries, which in this format, which is an array. And we have cache. Cache is basically going to say, if I've already fetched it once, pull it from the database so we don't exhaust, we don't get rate limited by transcription API. So basically, we're also optimizing here as well, right? So eventually, we're going to be using caching as well. And tomorrow, that's going to blow your mind. Trust me, when it comes to the AI agent part of that. But what we do here is, before we do any of the kind of crazy transcription stuff, right now, we're just going to go ahead and handle presentational logic. So what we do here is we have the following. So we have the transcription. Let's go ahead and import that in. Like so. Transcription. And you can see down here, it's pulling in. Now here, you can probably guess what I'm going to do. We're going to have a usage component, which is going to use our transcription. And then you can see it pulls it already in. Now, once we've got the transcription down, we're going to say if there is no transcription, or if there is no transcript, we're going to have a button which says generate transcript. Well, actually, we don't even need the button because I'm going to make that automatic. So I used to have a button here, which would be some kind of like generation of transcript, but we don't actually do that anymore. So we don't actually need to worry about that. So now what I can just do is, if we haven't exceeded the limit for the transcription, then we can render out a transcript. So this bit here. So in this case, we're going to render out a div, which looks something like, the reason why this is freaking out, you can just do all no. There you go. There's a flex column. Again, I'm not running over the presentational logic because you can pause the video and run through what I've done. But here, basically, we're saying if there was a transcript, we're going to say render out, map through all of the transcript points and give each input. Otherwise, so here, I'll show you. So this, I'm gonna go through it. Don't worry. If there was a transcript, loop through the transcript. So transcript.transcript, and it's probably not the best naming, but loop through the transcript, map through every single entry. We're just going to use the index here to give a unique key. And then we're going to span and we're going to say the timestamp and the entry text. This will resemble these entries. It loops through it and pulls these out. And then if there is no transcript, it'll say no transcription available. So in our one, we see no transcription available. Okay. So now you can see we have our UI. All right. Siren goes, Sonny, this community brings out the best to me. I owe this all to you guys and all the incredible devs that we get to be. Absolutely, dude. Thank you so much for your positivity. You are awesome, man. So you guys can see this. Look at that. Boom. That is already looking beautiful. And look at that. Look at that dynamic behavior. How everything's loading. Boom. It pops in the different usages and so forth. Amazing, right? Now, for this part, transcript, we don't use it. Video ID is not used, because we will have to have, you know, all of the steps. Again, all of those things are going to likely happen tomorrow. Today, what we will do is we're going to go ahead and finalize on setting up the Convex database, and then we will deploy. So this is going to be a step which is going to allow you to get to this point in presentational logic, so we can have all of this stuff looking great, so we can check your homework and see if you get to this point, which is going to really be very good. And the way I can test you at this point is I go into your app, I go manage plan. I will basically upgrade on your plan, and I can see for myself. So this is what Jay is essentially going to be doing a lot, is we're going to go through their plans. We're going to upgrade their plan using 4242 as the card details. And then we're going to come into your app and we're going to check to see if I can see this. And I will know if you've done it right because I'll see the quota that you've given, plus if it's rendered correctly or not, right? So I'll see to this point. Now, what we want to do is, in order to deploy, all of the next step is we just need to set up Convex. So Convex is actually way easier than you can imagine. Convex.dev. All we do is head over to convex.dev, and then we have this command at the top, right? Now, if we copy that command, we do here, and I'm just simply going to add a P in front of it. So PM, create Convex latest. And what this will do is it will spin up Convex inside of our application. So project name, my app. We can call this one AI Agent App YouTube, and then we can do React Next.js app router. So in this case, Next.js app router, Convex auth Clerk, right? So we're going to use Clerk for Clerk authentication, setting it up for us. Latest cursor rules added to project. Nice. And you see, this is actually a new, this is new, actually, very nice. Oh, this is kind of cool. Very nice. Well, in this case, you can log in with your GitHub and everything. So let that do its magic. So we're going to log into GitHub in the meantime. So I'm already logged in. At that point, you would have already had to have logged in at some point, right? You wouldn't be able to get past that screen otherwise. So in this case, this should go ahead and set me up. I don't know what this is doing. Is this doing it? Or I haven't used this CLI, this version of the CLI before. Interesting. Oh, it did it. Oh, interesting. Okay. CD AI Agent App YouTube. Oh, wait a minute. What's this done? This created a whole app. No. We don't want to do that. Okay, so that created a whole app. inside of our app. So we don't actually want to do that. Although that's kind of cool that it literally, oh wow, it even gave cursor guidelines, guys. That's kind of cool. I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of cool. Wow, that's pretty nice. So you could actually start the app from the beginning with this. I didn't even know this existed, to be honest. So you could copy that cursor file if you really want it. But in this case, I'm not going to use this. I'm going to delete that app that they've generated. What I recommend you do instead is create a project inside. Let's call this one AI Agent Challenge YouTube Create. And now inside of here, get rid of that. Let's do a quick start. So let's do follow a quick start guide for your favorite framework, Next.js. And this is the one that we're going to use. Yeah. So pnpm install Convex. So let's do that now. So pnpm install Convex. And while that's happening, pmpx Convex dev. Or it's actually pdlx? pmpx Convex dev. And now this will go ahead and spin up Convex for us. So it will actually create a Convex folder for us in a second. Look. So would you like to choose an existing project? Yes. And you can see I've got a bunch of apps here. So am I in the correct account? Ticketing SaaS project. DC customer. I don't know how many apps I have here. CC customer demo CC. I have so many different CC agent. Okay, I think it's that one. AI Agent Challenge. Yeah. AI Agent Challenge. That's very, very weird, actually. AI Agent Challenge YouTube. No, that's not the one. Oh God. Okay. Okay. So Convex file would have got created. What we can do is you can just delete that file for now. Move to trash. God's sake, own it. Okay. So I'm in the wrong account. React.team. Convex log out maybe. Yep. So Convex dev. So this is what you're going to see initially, right? So it's going to see this and then you can go ahead and log in. So what we do is we're going to log in on that browser. There we go. That's better. And then I can click confirm. Congratulations, you're all set. And now I'm in the correct account. So before it wasn't actually done in the correct way. Well, I'd already done this, so we've already done it. So oh, there you go. Save credentials to, you don't have access to a project. Okay, I mean, ignore that. So choose an existing project. There we go. Now I should see 3 projects. There we go. Ah, AI Agent Challenge YouTube. Live debugging. And you can see now it's added in the Convex deployment to our environment file. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a bit bigger. I'll go to my environment file. And what we can see here, guys, is, oh, okay, Jay, remind me, invalidate all keys as usual. But in this case, you can see a Convex deployment and a next public Convex URL. So acoustic aura. So that's what we essentially needed to do. And now what I can do is I can close that, get rid of that. And the way you can check very simply, go to settings, go to URL and deployment, or to be honest, you can go to project settings. Oh God, where is it? Settings, show developer credentials. Here we are. Acoustic Orca. So as long as you saw that matching in your env file, you're good to go. And now what you'll notice is we should have a Convex folder with a generated file. That's good. Very good. Now inside of Convex, make sure your underline is there. You want to create a new file called schema.ts. Now I want you to pay attention here. Notice how I have Convex running on one side of my terminal and I have my app running on the left, right? So schema validation has failed. That's fine. That's expected. What we're going to do now is create a schema. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and pull in the two following things: Convex values and Convex server. And then we need to create a schema file. So how do we create a schema file? What is a schema file? It's essentially defining all of the tables inside of our database. And this is real time going to synchronize. So we're going to have three tables, or 4 tables. The first one is the videos table, which is going to be every single video that we essentially analyze as a user. Now, the way we're going to do it is user ID, video ID. The two are an entry into a videos table. So we're going to go ahead and say videos define table. It takes a video ID, a user ID, and then we're going to add 3 search indexes so that we can search that table very easily. So we do that, we hit save, and now you'll see very shortly we should have a videos table. Boom. Okay. So inside you can see it. If you get that feedback, you know it's doing what you need. Now the next one is a transcript. So this is going to match the same object text timestamp that we did earlier for transcripts. So we've got a transcript table and we've got 3 search indexes so we can search the transcript table. We have images. Let's go ahead and do that for images as well. Define table, and this is going to have a storage ID because we're going to use the storage API from Convex. And the final one is titles. So we're going to have 4 tables: videos, transcript, images, and titles. And if you did it all correctly, you will have 4 tables created in your Convex database. Now, why is this so damn powerful? Because behind the scenes, it's generating the entire data models behind it all. So all of this, everything will have type definitions behind it all. So everything here will be correctly typed, and we can use this information inside of, I believe it's here, maybe? No, we'll find it afterwards. But yeah, essentially it's going to create all of the correct type definitions for us. So now what we can do is inside of thumbnail generations, you can see how we got images and no images, right? So how do we actually go ahead and fix this? Because we won't be able to deploy with this, right? It's going to say you have any and so forth. Well, firstly, maybe we can stop there and actually have that as a pause point before tomorrow we implement all of the logic behind it. Or we can just have that one bit solved. So I'm trying to think. Okay, I'll tell you what, we'll solve this images one and then we can carry on. So inside of Convex, create a, not in the generated, but you see Convex has at the schema level, create a new file next to it called images.ts. Now here, what we're going to do is we're going to import 2 values, and this is going to be for our query functionality. So we're going to have one called get images. All right, so this one is going to be called for the get image. Oh, actually, I don't know if it's going to be get image or get images, I reckon. Yeah, so we're going to have a get images function. This is going to be a query, right, inside of our Convex. And you can read their documentation yourself and see what's going on, but it takes 2 arguments. One is going to be the args. So args, this will take a user ID and a video ID. The second thing is the handler. Okay, so the handler, like so. Okay, now we can basically go ahead. This is how we like kind of interact with the database, get images. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get access to the images table. So we go const images equals await context.db, which allows us to access the database, query the images with the index by user and video. And then we filter out based on the user and the video, and we collect all of the images that are returned. So this is going to be essentially how we go ahead and get all of the images. And then from there, what we do is we go ahead and we actually do the following. So the way we're going to eventually store the images, we're going to have to go ahead and get the URLs for each of those images, which the way that we do that is we actually say images URLs promise.or, and then we basically map through all the images and we fetch the URLs. So when it comes to tomorrow, where we actually upload images and we store it and we build the tools and all that kind of stuff, the way that it will work is when we upload a image to Convex, we use the storage API, right? So the storage API. And what that does is it basically stores it and gives us back a ID. And basically what we're doing here is we're mapping through, and every single storage ID that is stored in the database, we expand it by using the get URL function when we call the images. So this is essentially what will happen tomorrow, okay? Nathan, I appreciate you guys. Hi, huge fan. Been following your builds. Got stuck using the tickets. Can you share the final code of the code? Thanks a lot. But yes, this will all be shared at the end of on day 5, right? So then over in the image thumbnail generation, where we have images here, I'll show you this where the magic comes together, guys. So this is where the absolute magic comes together. So what we do is we import the following, use query from Convex React. And then what we do is we say, instead of an empty URL, now we use const images equals use query. And you see this API, this automatically gets generated, and see what it did here. So if I do dot, see how it knows the functions. So this is strongly typed out of the box, and it will argue if I passed in any incorrect value. See how it knew user ID and video ID, and I can even click through into the function. So now the images is perfectly typed based on the database. So just like that, we have images being pulled live from the database. And transcript, what was this freaking out about? This one's all right for now. We don't have to worry about this. We'll set this one up afterwards. In fact, for transcript, maybe we could do that right now. I don't know. Well, I'm just trying to think. I don't want to go too far ahead and then everyone kind of gets freaked out and we have to do all that later on. I think what we'll do is we can go ahead and pause there. So this is, I cannot find Convex use query, must be using React context. Oh yes, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. So the reason why this will not work right now is because we haven't wrapped our app to use the use query. So to use Convex. So if you look at our layout right now, we have a client wrapper and then we have Clerk and Schematic. We don't have Convex wrapping our app anywhere. So what we have to do is we're going to basically enhance this. So what we're going to do is Convex. Basically, Convex can play well with Clerk, right? So this is where I'm going to leave it up to you guys, but you can type in Convex Clerk and these two integrate. So you guys can see Clerk have got an amazing integration with Clerk. Convex have got an amazing integration with Clerk. So you can go into your Clerk dashboard and we need to set this up. So this is going to go ahead and be, it's actually way simpler than you think. We copy this auth-config.ts, go ahead and do this. So boom. And we go into our Convex, create a new auth.config.ts, copy this file and paste it. Now this one is going to be where our Clerk account lives, right? So I'll show you how we do this now. So what we're going to do is keep that open on one side, go over to our Clerk dashboard. All right, so let's go over to our Clerk dashboard, go into our sign in. So let's go start building. Am I in this one? Or maybe I should be in the other one. Let's do this. Clerk. Yep. So inside of our Clerk dashboard now, so the Convex documentation shows us what's going on. AI Agent Challenge. Let's go into configure. Then you want to go simply over to JWT templates. And we're going to create a new template. And we're going to call Convex. And you can see here, keep the name Convex. Do not change that. The issuer is the key part here. You're going to copy the issuer. And for now, what we're going to do is just go ahead and put this in here. But the environment variables here are actually correlating to not our local environment variables, but the ones over in Convex. So I just want to go ahead and stress that inside of Convex, right? What we actually have is, if I go over to Convex here in Convex in settings, environment variables. So let's say, for example, this environment variable here, next public Convex URL. Well, no, it's not this one. It's not this one. It's issuer URL. So this one is actually going to be for, let me just go ahead and show you right now. So Clerk issue URL. So we're going to call this one Clerk issue URL. And the value here is going to be what I just found over at my other page. So where was it? Yeah, here, this one. So you need to actually store it here. And the reason why is because Convex is anything inside of Convex that you have inside of your code, consider the process.env. So process.env, consider this to essentially be, what's it called? To essentially be pulled from the Convex dashboard, not our local env file. That's how I would kind of make life a bit simpler for you. And what we can do here to add a little bit of a sanity check, we can say auth-config equals this, and then we can say export, or we can say if there is no Clerk issue URL, then do that, and then we can export default. So that way we're checking if that doesn't exist. So now, once we got that down, what we do is we go into our layout, go TSX, client wrapper, and where we have Clerk provider, we're going to create another higher order component called the Convex client provider. Okay, so we're going to call this one Convex client or Convex, client provider .tsx. And this one, we're going to go ahead and do the following. We're going to say this is a client component. We're going to have export Convex client like so. Okay. And then here, what we do, sorry guys. Here, what we do is this one will actually return a Clerk provider. Okay. And then we actually import Convex provider with Clerk from Convex React Clerk. And now what you'll find is we render it out like so. So use auth, we pull it in from use Clerk React and Next.js, and then Convex here, we actually create a new Convex React client like so. And we import that from Convex React. And you see next public Convex URL. This should be set up inside of our env file. So this right here, next public Convex URL, this one should have been set up for us here. Okay. So now what you should see is we have the Convex client provider. And you see how it still passes in the client provider for Clerk. So what we do is we go here and we instead of we replace this with the Convex client provider. Now you can see this one is oops, sorry, I've broken something. It should be Convex client provider. So Convex client provider from our local, boom, boom. Why is this freaking out? It's saying it's not possible to assign React node export function. Let's go into that export function. What have I done wrong here? I didn't save it, I don't think. Provider. Okay, let's debug. Once again, let's debug. So we've got Convex client provider. So oh yeah, I didn't return it. So you have to return it. There you go. And now we shouldn't have an issue. So now you can see you get past that issue. So if we refresh, what's this? No JWT template exists with name Convex. Interesting. So we didn't save our, we never saved it. So you click on save. And now go back, hit refresh. Hit refresh. And you should see, we're through. Amazing stuff. Cool. So there we have it. We set up the analysis page. So let's go ahead and show you right now. We set up the analysis page. We set up Convex on the back end. We set up the connection with Clerk. So now, and the reason why you want to do that, by the way, is that way in your, we're using user IDs as to keep it simple, but you can actually use inside the context, whenever we do a mutational query inside of Convex, you can use your Clerk user ID state inside of there because the two are connected. So it's very powerful what you can do with this. But now, more importantly, we are going to go ahead and just deploy this to Vercel. So what I want to do now is two things. I want to go ahead and go to, you see this is all good now. I'm going to create another terminal. I'm just going to say Vercel. What's this error? Let's just double check. Get rid of that, yeah. I'm going to do Vercel and then I can do -- prod. Obviously, you don't always push to prod. I'm just showing you because we're doing a demo. This will fail because we haven't updated our environment variables. So what I want you to do is open up your environment variables like so. And now I want you to Command A, can copy them all, head back into our, so Command J. And you see this inspect, what we get, go ahead and open that. And open it like so. Now inside of here, go into AI Agent Challenge, settings, environment variables, and we're just going to update all of our keys. So what I do is I paste in the value here. So I paste. And as you can see, I go ahead and I go down and I click on the save. So in this case, there's a save button. I click it and then boom, it goes ahead and it adds in those variables. So what I want to do now is go to my deployments, and you see where it's currently building. I'm going to cancel that deployment. Head back over to my code. This will now say cancelled. And now I do Vercel -- prod. So I do Vercel -- prod. And if all went well, we should have done our deployment. And this is going to be your homework for today, right? So this is wild how fast he did so much today. Sonny Sangha is killing it, making it easy for all of us. Yeah, guys, you can definitely go ahead and follow along. And like I said, I did it with this pace today because I want you to go ahead and rewatch this back, of course, and rebuild it out. But if we don't keep up the pace, then of course there's quite a lot to do in three build days. Tomorrow, once this is done, tomorrow we're essentially going to be building out the rest. So we're going to build out the interaction with the AI agent, the tooling, all of that cool stuff. But right now, your homework will be to deploy this so that we can go ahead and, so that we can go ahead and have the following come into play. So for example, if I was just to go ahead and grab another link. So what I want to see from you guys is this manage plan component. So I can basically go ahead and check this out. So in this case, I can go ahead and check this out. And by the way, Digital Alchemist goes, day 3 was brutal last time. Day 3 seems so easy by comparison. That is because of Schematic. You can thank the guys over at Schematic. Thank Ryan. Drop him a message in the community because they've made it really easy to handle the payments. Like, guys, think about how quick we did the payment part. It's nuts. Like, this is why I'm really mind blown by them. And by the way, we got 200 people and 2,700 people watching right now on the viewing room. That's just wow. Thank you, everyone. Seriously. 433 Crypto, because I love your teaching method, bro. I appreciate you. All right. Digital Alchemist goes, Ryan, we love you, and we done this new tool. Exactly, guys. Send it and preach it to them. It's such an awesome tool. In this case, if we click on enter, now you guys can see that. Boom. This is what I want to see from your apps. I know if you got to this point that you did it right, because I would see based on your plan, I'll see that you're pulling in the correct entitlements. I'll see that everything is working the correct way. Customize it. Again, any additional features you add in, amazing. And what I am going to add in as a challenge here, so you can get bonus points as a suggested feature, is add a sidebar or something, some kind of sidebar whereby every time I create a chat session, it saves it in the database. So I can navigate between the different previous search URLs. That would be really cool. So if you go ahead and add that in, you guys can go ahead and do that. So that's going to be bonus points as well. Okay. So in this case, let's go ahead and see the deployment, and we should have a green deployment, hopefully. Oh, we got an error. Like, some more debugging. Let's see what's going on. So in this case, we had more so here. This one's fine. You can ignore that one. It's title generations. So here, so what I want to show you is whenever you get these errors, what you can actually do to debug this faster is go into your code. So let's go into our code and just do Vercel build here. And now you can pull you can pull them in, and you can actually run that build process locally. So you can see those issues locally. Mainly this is going to be because we're not using video ID and user. That's probably, that's the reason why, right? So video ID is not used, set defined is not used. So title generations and transcript are going to be where it's wrong. So transcription, it's going wrong here. So in this case, what you could do just to get past that for now, you could just go ahead and log these out. So titles, video ID, and this will honestly just get rid of it for now. So in this case, you could do titles. Let's just do explicitly allow for, oh God, this is going to bug me. Okay. Yeah. For now, you could go ahead and just pop this in. So it says title ID and then an empty array, and you just console log them. This will get rid of the error for now. I'm not saying this is good practice, but I'm going to show you how to build the titles section afterwards, right? Or you can just create the convex getter function if you want to skip ahead, right? So you can do that. And then the other issue was in the transcription here. So what we can do here is we can just console log the video ID to get rid of that error. And then here for now, we can get rid of that, the set function, and that will get rid of the 2 errors for us. And as you can see, if we do Vercel build now, it will get past that. Okay. Yatish goes, You want for production build it one more. Yes. So again, if you're not in a supported country, again, you can use these for your portfolio pieces. But again, there's not much I can do for you in terms of if you want to push it to production and you're not in a supported country from Stripe. That is a certain limitation I don't have control over, but it's something which we don't have control over that, unfortunately. But right now you can see that now it will start building out the pages and then boom, we are good to go. So now if we do Vercel -- prod, you can see we get through this. And I also want to mention, guys, of course, this is where community is going to come in clutch. Today of all the day, I can't believe how many people are watching right now. This is insane, right? Today of all days is where you probably are going to get stuck more than before, and you're going to notice people are going to start quitting. Do not quit is my number one piece of advice, FYI. It's simply said, when coding gets hard, it's not about doing it alone. It's about doing it with the community and overcoming your problems. This is the reason why I run challenges. I want you to come together, get stuck, get in that uncomfortable position. I always scream this to my community, get comfortable with the uncomfortable and really go ahead and just get it done. Like, don't let those things break you down and, you know, make you doubt yourself as a developer and all this rubbish. Just get it done by getting support from the community. You are not alone. This is essentially where it comes to, you know, helping each other out. This is why the Papa Fam is just period the best developer community on the planet. And the one thing I would definitely say is if you get stuck at any moment, remember, you have a whole community of developers right now who are literally doing this with you, coding along and absolutely crushing it and helping each other out. Right? Look, literally comments are coming in right now. So go ahead and help each other out and get it done. I want you guys to win the prizes, but more than any of that, I want you to understand that after this challenge, you now are part of a community where you can get through any technical problem. That is going to blow your mind. And I also want to say, Jay just updated me on the viewing metrics, guys. 200 people on YouTube and 3,000 in the viewing room. We've never had that on a day. What are we on, day 3? Yeah, day 3. We've never had that on a day 3 so far. So I just want to say thank you to every single one of you. It's mind-boggling how amazing the support is, right? So in this case, let's see. We've got the build logs running in. This one's fine. This one, the team is actually working on this right now. That's a very minor dependency bug. The main thing here is the static page generation. So quick little water break while we wait for this to go. Now, once that successfully builds, what's your next step? Well, we go ahead and we go to the classroom or the link in the description or the viewing room. Go over to day 3, head down here. You'll see today's video. You'll see the steps for today's video and then the submission links. You've got the viewing room or the submit your homework link. If we go into the viewing room, for example, go down here, you can see we've got the homework submission link. And then here you want to pop in your name, your email, the deployed link. If you implemented Clerk, you implemented Schematic, and any other bonus features, if you added the sidebar, for example, that I just spoke about. Now, at this point, oh, this is awesome. Look at this. So you've got the AI Agent Challenge Vercel app. So you want to make sure it's this global one. Remember, the global one. And it should not say authenticating. Otherwise, you're sending a preview link, which we cannot access. You want to copy that link. You paste that link into your deployment. Okay. And remember, if you use my link, I know. Okay, so don't do that. So in this case now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just copy a link. Let's go ahead and copy a link address. And I just want to test something as well. We should have protected this route. So if I try and access that now, look, it should take me to log in. Ah, nice. Our middleware works. Just a little random check. And then we click continue with Google. That's because Clerk's awesome. Clerk already have that built into the middleware. We just added that simple check and it did it. And now it should show me the analysis page. And if it's all good, pow, there you go, guys. Amazing stuff live right now. And if we go to the manage plan section, we should see a red button. There we go, guys. Just like that, just like that. And if I logged into a different account, it would come up with a different user. There we have it, guys. That is your day 3 with all of the submission requirements, all of the steps. You guys know what to do. I'm going to queue up the song because, you know, that time's coming right now. 2 hours and 30 today. Today is the day where I need you to dive your feet deeper than ever and make sure that you go ahead and get the work done. So today we went ahead and built out the analysis page. So we got the analysis page ready and primed for tomorrow for the agent to be introduced. We're going to introduce our AI agent into the entire workflow, introduce tooling, all of that amazing stuff tomorrow. But today you want to get the UI done, set up Convex, get to this point, set up your schematic components, import it. You know, you're going to be using there's so many skills that are going to be used right now. You're going to have your Next.js server actions, a mix of client components, server components to get to this point. You can see I've really spent a lot of time to make sure that you guys maximize your skill set. And I know, and I did this on purpose because I wanted you to get stuck in corners, because you have to resort to helping each other out. So that's exactly what I wanted to do here. Guys, this is a beautiful app. No doubt you guys are going to love it, and it's going to be an amazing portfolio piece. Get to this point, submit your homework. And as always, it's your boy Papa React, and I'm going to see you tomorrow for day 4, where we introduce the AI agent. Let's give it a little demo, guys. This is what we're essentially going to be seeing tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and introduce. Oh, okay. That's I've got 2 things running now, so it's gonna break. I've got my app running twice in 2 different places. Anyway, I'm going to give you've seen the demo. I'm not going to do a live demo of that because it's going to break until I'm in a corner case right now, which I can't explain on live. Anyway, we're going to build the AI agent chat. That's all you're going to see. All right, you guys have seen enough demos. I showed you in the beginning as well. So we're going to build the entire chat functionality as well as, so this is going to have the entire chat functionality. Then we're going to have the chat box. We're going to have the ability to send a message. We're going to have all of these little quick send buttons to generate images, generate titles. We're going to introduce subscription gating. So if you're on a certain membership tier, this will not be accessible and so forth. The chat will look like the following. We'll have our messages flowing back and forth. And then the AI agent will be able to use certain tools. So we can say, like, it's going to basically know how to go ahead and use certain tools. These tools are going to manipulate the database and go ahead and actually interact with it. And this is all going to be powered by an AI agent. And plus, because your boy doesn't do half measures, we're going to throw in streaming as well. So all of this is going to be dynamically streamed in, and we're going to do all of that tomorrow for free. And all of the code gets released to you guys for free on day 5. So if that's great and that sounds great and you enjoyed today's sessions, make sure you destroy that like button. Not like it, just destroy the damn thing. Subscribe to the channel, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of your homework submissions. It's your boy Sonny. I'll see you in day 4 of the challenge. Peace. Let's get it, guys.